Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've traveled forward in time tonight, as it's time to go night racing at the mile-and-a-half Las Vegas Motor Speedway for race 16 of the Northwest Cup Series season. Live on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. I'm Justin Prince, alongside the booth tonight is Greg Rentz, as we outlined in the pits with Charles Wooden in the director's seat for what is expected to be a thrilling race tonight under the lights. All these drivers have traveled forward in time tonight, Greg, to the month of September for what should be some great racing as these drivers get ready to tackle 134 laps at this mile-and-a-half circuit.
200 miles coming up at Las Vegas Motor Speedway tonight, Justin. First of two trips this weekend. Justin, the Northwest Racing Truck Series was at Kansas Speedway this past Thursday night right here on LSR TV. Now we're at Kansas's sister track, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, located in Las Vegas, Nevada, one of about 7 or 8 different tracks on the facility. This is the big one, and this is the one that these drivers love coming to when they're in Las Vegas, and we're going to see who can handle it right now. Remember, the Cup Series was off last week to celebrate 4th of July. It was 2 weeks ago that Chris White picked up the win at Indianapolis, and Justin, he's sitting on top of the charts again here to start the day off in final practice.
You see that on the left side of your screen with the 29.905 over Kevin Smith, Joshua Marcy, Dan Lowther, and Jeff Stabnow. You touched upon that race at the Brickyard, and it was an attrition-filled one, to say the very least. It was important for many of the competitors, it seemed, Greg, to keep the car clean and don't smack the outside walls. Unfortunately for several drivers, they did exactly that.
And we saw, Justin, kind of different strategies on there. We thought that pretty much every caution and opportunity you got, you were going to come in and take 4 Goodyear tires. But we saw different drivers taking different strategies throughout the course. A lot of 2-tire stops throughout the course of the race. So it turned into a strategy race as well as the race of attrition. So it was really fun watching that thing unfold. And of course, Chris White coming away with that first Cup Series win and breaking through for the first win of the season overall, as he had not yet visited victory lane in Northwest Racing Series competition. But here we are back in Las Vegas, Nevada, 2 weeks later to see who can hit the jackpot here at the mile-and-a-half.
Now let's talk about how the season's fared so far once again. And remember, if you win and stay within the top 16, you put yourself in a position to potentially battle for the postseason. So far this season, a grand total of 8 drivers have won races. Brightsman, Frazier, West Jr., Stabnow, Chris White, Corey Walters, Bruce Weaver, BJ Tedrick rounding out those drivers on the campaign and the victories. But the points are something to keep an eye on. The top driver in that regard is 6th overall, Stephen Paulison. He is 92 points back of Dan West Jr. for comparison's sake. He's going to be someone needing to continue to have good runs despite having the cushion he's got of nearly 70-plus points. But anything can happen when it comes to these closing stages of the season, especially since, as you see on the right side of your screen, it's a cold one at Las Vegas.
Yeah, track temperature only 67 degrees, just 2 degrees hotter than the air temperature. And Justin, that's not something you see very often. Typically, you see a pretty large gap in the temperature between the air temp and the track temp. It's down low tonight, 67 degree track temperature to couple along with a 65 degree air temperature. Winds coming from the west at 4 miles an hour tonight. So it could be a little bit tricky as these drivers are not used to driving on cold racing surfaces. They're used to driving in hot racing surfaces, very slippery, not a lot of grip. Totally different ball game here tonight.
And for those wondering, why are we in late September for a nighttime race? Well, as explained to drivers throughout the briefing, throughout the campaign, the schedule has fallen along with the Road to Pro calendar, especially with the distances as well as with the NIS distances throughout the campaign. For those who may or may not know, next week, the eNASCAR Road to Pro iRacing Series heads to Las Vegas for a daytime race. So that falls in line with that, and it's also the reason why, in a couple weeks' time as well, the series heads off to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for a road course race. So it's consistent with trying to help drivers get that prep together for a Road to Pro action, Greg, while also, at the same time, expanding a bit of the distances to go towards 2-stop races.
Yeah, it's a very fun thing to have the races be the exact distance of the road to pro, really giving, like you mentioned, these drivers a true test to go out and see what is the, or what are they going to be able to do in the 134 laps. Different competition, yes, but you will be able to have quite a preview of that road to pro week here tonight on LSR TV. 134 laps the distance, and we've seen it all year. The mile and a half have been 134 laps, and that two-stop strategy, or the two-stop distance that we've been talking about, has really made for some very wild finishes, as that second pit stop comes very close to the end of the race quite often.
And we've seen several times, Greg, as well, strategy come into play if there's a late caution.
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. And we've seen that quite a few times, especially in the Cup Series. A lot of late race cautions, green, white, checkered finishes. So it definitely adds a wrinkle into the race, especially over here on the Cup Series. We don't see it as much on Thursday nights in the truck series, but it does tend to happen. But it happens quite often over here on the Cup side. So we'll see if tonight's any different, or if we have another classic late race duel here in the Cup Series tonight at Las Vegas.
Drivers meeting is underway for these competitors tonight. Qualifying not going to get underway quite yet. Track is closed for the moment as these drivers discuss what to expect this evening. Let's head off towards the pits first off, though, with Wesley Outland as these drivers get ready for an exciting one here at Las Vegas.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to pit lane at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The old cliche, the slogan, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, the same thing has to be here in the pit lane as well tonight. These drivers are going to have a very unique opportunity to probably make 2 or 3 pit stops in the exchange, but it's on a double dog leg, or if you want to call a tri-oval surface racetrack, not like sister SMI tracks of Charlotte, Atlanta, or Texas. It's like a mile-and-a-half tri-oval, if you will. Well, if you notice, as they enter onto the pit lane, there's a very sharp curving. They have to make sure, first off, they don't go over their pit road penalty, because they will get penalized for speeding on pit road and also on exit. Then you notice how the pit stalls have a very unique sequence of turning in. Some drivers are going to be on that straight narrow line on the tri-oval. Other drivers will have to sharply curve their way around the pits. The way you work on strategy in and off pit road could be the person that goes to victory lane here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The pits should be an interesting source to decide the outcome of this race, Justin Prince.
Absolutely. We've seen plenty of exciting strategies throughout the races this campaign of the mile and a halves. I think tonight we might see some more strategy, especially with the cooler racetrack. Now let's talk about, at that same time here, Greg, how some of the mile and a halves have gone so far this season. Earlier on in the campaign, you may remember, we did visit Las Vegas in the second race of the campaign. It was Seth Frazier who took the checker flag on March the 9th in the Snake Eyes 100. That was after leading 26 laps and winning by more than a second over Scott Mann and Dan West Jr. The West family racing driver led the most laps in that event, Greg, back in the spring.
Yeah, that was before I joined the LSR TV team for the North Racing Series, but Seth Frazier has run very strong at this track in the past, so he's a guy you got to watch out for tonight in the Paul Paris Funeral Home Ford Mustang, because he is always very, very fast at Las Vegas. And Justin, he's had a lot of speed this year, 3 wins on the year, but he hit that dry spell for quite a while, and he was finally able to snap it about a month ago at Richmond. But he started that season off super hot by winning the first cup, or winning 2 races early on in the year, and went on a hot streak, but went ice cold. But another driver I want to talk about who is also on a hot streak right now, how about the guy who picked up the win at Darlington a few weeks ago, followed up with a pole and a podium at Indianapolis, BJ Tidrick in the number 72. He has transferred that hot streak over to the real-life late model scene. He went to Hermiston Raceway a couple weeks ago on 4th of July weekend, and he swept the night, winning both 40-lap late model races there. So BJ Tidrick, keep an eye on him to try to continue his hot streak.
One of the cars you've seen some shots of, you see him in the pit lane during the drivers meeting, who just so happens to have that track in the back bumper, is Kaden Anderson. He came away with the top 5 Greg at the Brickyard a couple weeks ago. Your thoughts on Kaden Anderson and his campaign, what you expect from him tonight?
always a threat, Justin. And he came in typical like Caden Anderson fashion, coming in and missing the end of practice. His first laps is going to be qualifying, but he has done this before and is always a threat to win here in the Northwest Racing Series. He is still looking for that series win, though. Could it come tonight in Las Vegas? We'll see. Caden Anderson's been spending a lot of time running these bigger tracks on the iRacing server over the last few months, so he is really looking for that first win as he's trying to break in the road to pro as well. He wants it. Could tonight be the night for Caden Anderson?
3700 IR, there's a chance he can position himself very well on the official side of racing for a run in 2021 if he can get some momentum together. Now, these drivers still have about 5 minutes or so expected until they can hit the track for qualifying tonight. Wesley, based on your experiences here at this racetrack, how does Las Vegas Motor Speedway usually drive for the various different competitors, and how do you tackle the circuit overall?
Well, one of the things we're going to be watching is, of course, it's nighttime and it's foggy here, and it's also cold, virtually 65 degrees. That's different than where we are, 3 months earlier down the line. Of course, if we would have ran this race in July, it would be probably in the, the 90s, 100-degree mark. Well, who says it gets in the 60s in Vegas, but at nighttime it does. That's one of the things we're going to be looking at. So obviously it's going to be track temperature. Now, the good thing is, the positive of this, it's already nighttime. So you're not going to see that transition of daylight to dusk to sunset to nightfall. So that's one of the cool things. The track's going to be cool when these trucks or these cars come on the track right off the bat. The other positives of this is, as the drivers are actually now getting ready to warm up there, come out on the pit lane to qualify, is we're going to see, these drivers are probably going to use these motors, engines in their cars to full capacity because it's cool. So you're going to see these cars push it to the limit, cool night. Don't have to worry about setups and changes, at least for a while, because you're already under nightfall. It should be just one of the other great strategies to get around Las Vegas Motor Speedway as we are about to go to qualifying. Who will put the best lap down? We're about to find out.
And here's a difference compared to some of the other qualifying sessions throughout 2020 so far. One of the first times on the campaign, it's a group qualifying session, Greg, and that can be vastly different than solo qualifying.
That's going to be very different, Justin, because with this aero-sensitive package that we see on this current Cup car, then they can get the draft off the car in front of them. They can really pick up some speed on their qualifying time. So we will see if anyone does indeed pick up a draft and is able to boost their qualifying time. So this is going to throw a whole new wrench into how we thought this race was going to go down, because now multiple cars on the track at once, and we already see it right at the front. Caden Anderson trying to draft off of Dan Lowther as the rest of the field comes out. Lowther, Anderson, and I believe Dan West Jr. behind him already on the clock to start off this qualifying session.
See some of the times popping up on the left side of the screen already in this group qualifying. Drivers were also given an extra few minutes tonight. Drivers meeting wrapped up very quickly tonight. But as we've seen on the pit lane, already these two drivers and several others trying to maneuver. Okay, I want to get the draft. Nope, I want to get the draft. I don't want to be the lead car. You see it already with Dan West Jr. getting the draft off Eric Cheney here. And Cheney, it looks like a race trying to back off to try and get the draft next off West Jr.
Yeah, Cheney, he runs a lot of races through qualifying in iRacing throughout the course of the day and every night, pretty much. A lot of group qualifying, but he has not run a Northwest Cup Series race in quite some time. We got trouble already.
Gary Nichols crashing in qualified already. John Ottenbacher involved. Seth Frazier also involved. Here's the bright side when it comes to group qualifying, though. If anything happens to your race car, you have the option of taking a tow, right back down to the pit lane, and that's what all three of those drivers now have the chance to do. As Lowther and Anderson now crash with some of the drivers coming off the pits in the backdrop.
Anderson sitting on top of the charts right now, 29.894, so not too shabby for Caden Anderson thus far. Gets the backup unloaded. Dan Lowther is sitting fifth at a 30.096. Only two drivers have gone in 29 so far tonight, Justin. That's Caden Anderson, the 37, and Dan West Jr., the 55.
Already several drivers crashing again. Ted Ricard into the wall. 11 drivers with official times. And here's the crazy part. We're already seeing times quicker than practice by about 1/10 of a second. Caden Anderson setting that time specifically Dan West Jr. also did not set a time along with Anderson in the session, meaning they've already jumped up to 1 and 2 after being essentially at the bottom of the pylon because they didn't put in those practice times. Oh, well, Devin West, he's at the other end of the spectrum back in about P13.
And the drivers sitting in third, the first drivers to take practice time, are the teammates Stephen O'Hare and Tyler King, Racetrack King. And Stephen O'Hare, remember, on Thursday picked up his second truck win of the season, still shut out in the Cup Series, but 2 wins now on the season on the truck side. Stephen O'Hare looking for another one here tonight at Las Vegas at the sister track, of which he just won in Kansas, trying to put Peel's Mandarins in victory lane for the first time tonight in the Cup Series.
Yeah, Tyler King actually has a hotkey involving, I think, that sponsor along with O'Hare, peeling for 4 fresh Peel's Mandarins, to say the very least. As you see, Chris White having a special paint scheme this evening. He's at the top 6 in qualifying so far. He was the quickest driver in practice, however. 30 flat gets him up inside the top 5, and that's without the draft, mind you, for the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, I heard when I came in, I was just talking with Dan Lowther and Daryl Tidrick for a moment, and Lowther was watching Jeff Stabnow as his laps, and he said that Stabnow was able to go his 30 flat in practice without draft. So Stabnow showing a lot of speed as well. He has not yet hit the track in his LSRTV Walls Beard Co. Ford Mustang. He is on the track now. He just now crossed the strike to begin his first qualifying lap. So Jeff Stabnow, hottest driver on the truck side, only 2 wins on the Cup side though this season. Actually, I believe 3, as another LSRTV car loses it in front of him. Sean Breitzman, Jeff Stabnow. Here's the third amigo, John Ottenbacher. Team LSRTV getting together early.
And nearly Corey Walters getting involved in the second incident in the qualifying session. It's not looking pretty out there, to say the least. But one driver who's looking to have a pretty run tonight. We've seen Kevin Smith looking to have a good run. James Vining with a pretty paint scheme.
James Vining, new look on the 333. Debuted the Little Red Wagon this past week at Kansas in the trucks. Going with another new paint scheme here tonight in the Cup Series. He's trying to work his way through, currently sitting 8th on the charts right now, 30.113, 8th on the charts right now for the 333. So we'll see how the Catman can do here tonight in Sin City, coming around to complete his 5th lap of the qualifying session. And what this group qualifying session is doing is it's allowing drivers to get more time on the racetrack in the draft situation. Oh, Chris White around right in front of Vining, and Eric Janey sliding as well. Vining still fighting it all the way into turn number 3. Still fighting it as he comes to a stop. But Justin, this group qualifying session has given them a little extra practice in the draft, which is going to be very crucial tonight.
Yeah, and it's looking like some of these drivers, how do I put this politely, needing some of this without some of the looseness off on the track. Carl Burke just jumped up to 2nd, though. He's in the back of a drafting train, and he's got a brand new look tonight. Picking up sponsorship from the Howard's Auto Repair and Gas from Eureka, California.
You remember the Cup race at Kansas a few months ago. Carl Burke was in position to win on a late restart, and unfortunately jumped the restart, and it got him a black flag. So Carl Burke, he's looking for redemption, and he thinks maybe Kansas is the track of where that happened. The sister track, Las Vegas, tonight. Could this be the night that Burke gets that redemption? And Justin, we've seen him in these NIS races that go the same difference. Wow, a huge pile up off of turn number 4. I just saw BJ Tidrick about 15 feet in the air.
I have to ask you, Greg, though, with all these drivers getting loose off the corner especially, is this worrying to you once the green flag drops, though, in a race situation?
I'm not sure about that just yet, because once the drivers get into race mode, it's going to be a lot different. These guys right now, they know that they can repair their cars and come out and go whatever they want. Once that race starts, they're going to go into that mode of, okay, I only have the one fast repair. Don't want to burn it up too quick. So I think you'll start seeing the drivers show a lot more patience once the green flag falls and we actually go racing here tonight.
Should note that several drivers have already taken several stints throughout this open qualifying session. 3 pit stops already for Anderson, for example. Several for drivers inside the top 6. We're looking at the 35 machine. Marcy, we've talked about him having some good speed in some races. Was very quick in practice. That time threaded to need around some spinning race cars with a 30.112 to get him back up to P11. Different look for him tonight, though, Greg, going from a Toyota to a Chevy.
Yeah, another manufacturer switch. We've seen the manufacturer switches pay off for these drivers over the weeks. Remember Chris White making the switch to Ford, really paying dividends there. A lot of drivers switching over to Ford. Once the F-150 came over in the truck series, you saw Jeff Stabnow make the leap, among others, making the switch to Ford all the way around. But I believe this is the first time we've seen a driver make the switch over to Chevy. We did see Sean Reisman run a Chevy one night, but we still think he just brought the wrong car to the track that day, as he was right back in his Toyota the next week. So Joshua Marcy running a Chevy tonight. We'll see how it pays off for him, sitting 11th right now.
See, they're running on his own as well. Once again, we talked about this machine a little bit. Now running in groups, for example, as well are these two. Frazier trying to draft off loud. There was multiple other drivers coming off the pit lane. They were told moments ago, about 3 minutes to go in this qualifying. And this is the tricky part when it comes to group qualifying as well. You never know who's going to end up coming down to the pit lane and holding you up off the exit.
Seen that happen plenty of times already here tonight. Seth Frazier to second, 29.942. It's Dan Lowther in the wall going into turn number 1. But yeah, like you mentioned, Justin, if you get held up coming off pit road by a guy waiting on perhaps his drafting partner, that could cost you, especially here in the closing stages of this qualifying session. You might not be able to get that one more lap in that you were hoping for if something were to happen, say right now, right before session advance.
About a couple minutes left in qualifying. Paulison inside the top 8 right now. Just bumped down to P8 precisely, in fact, behind Devin West. A 30.050 is his quickest time right now in the Jim Beam machine. No drafting partners, though. And with how he's taken the line, with how the engine's revving, you can kind of tell having to crack the throttle a little bit in the middle of the corner. Want to see if we can take a listen in fact, with the 58 on this lap. And just as I say that, decides to pull off the racetrack.
Don't you love it?
I mean, we've talked about that cushion about 2 laps or so. You also don't want to cook the tires. It takes only about a couple laps to get up to full heat. Then the pace falls off as Dan Lowther falls on his roof.
Well, Dan Lowther in 10th right now, and definitely going for a ride in that number 63. He is going to be very happy that he's got a backup car. He's ready to go and give it one more shot here to try and get up a little bit further in the qualifying grid. But with the amount of laps some of these drivers have put on, I don't see anyone really improving their position unless they're able to throw 4 fresh tires on before we get out there. So far, 3 drivers have not yet taken time. Ricky Bozer is on track right now, about to take the first lap, and as I say that, he breaks wicked loose in turn number 1, so it will not count that time. Him, Kyle Fitzpatrick, and Ray Fournier, the 3 drivers that have yet to take a time. Ricky Bozer down in the infield wall off of turn 2.
Should note Kyle Fitzpatrick, while his car is registered for tonight, is currently not at the racetrack. But the interesting part when it comes to Fournier, he's had several DNSs this season, Greg. This is likely potentially one of his first starts of the season, despite the fact he has been a part of the driver lineup several times in 2020.
We've seen that out of him a few times, Justin, but he had a great run on Thursday in the Truck Series. I believe he came away with a top 5 on Thursday night at Kansas. So maybe he was looking for, you know, hey, we got another shot, a similar track. Let's give it a shot here. But has not yet qualified. And typically he doesn't qualify even if he intends to run. But he's not even on pit road right now, Justin. So perhaps we may not see the 26 again, as Ricky Bozer trying to get out there, but it looks like he's just going to say, you know what, I'm just going to sit here. Qualifying's just about done. And just as we say it, session has advanced qualifying done. Caden Anderson, no practice, and he gets the pole, 29.894.
He felt confident after about 10 minutes of qualifying. He'll lead us to the green flag tonight here at Las Vegas. A 29.894 is the pole time tonight from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. See how the rest of the lineup will be this evening with Seth Frazier starting in the outside front row tonight, a 29.942. Rounding up the top 5, Carl Burke, Dan West Jr., and Chris White in a special paint scheme. He's the first driver in the 30 flats. Stephen O'Hare with a good qualifying run rounds out the top 6. In row 4, it's Joshua Marcy and Scott Mann. Jeff Stabnell moves his way up to 9th, and Devin West rounds out the top 10, Greg.
Talked about Steven Paulson. He will roll off 11th with Dan Lowther to his outside. Lucky 13 going to the 46 of Sean Brightsman, the winner at Kansas earlier this season, looking to pull off the sweep of this style track with Tyler King to his outside starting in the 14th position. Catman James Vining in the 333 rolls off 15th with James Thurston in 16th. BJ Tidrick on the hot streak but work to do. He'll roll off 17th inside of Corey Walters. BJ's younger brother Daryl and Gary Nichols round out the top 20.
Kevin Smith, after having a good practice lap, is now in 21st, though in qualifying. Eric Cheney 22nd, Frank Harris, John Ottenbacher round out the top 24. Last driver to take a time will try and impress his son tonight. Jeffrey Hagan starts in 25th. Rounding out the drivers on the grid tonight, Ricky Bozier, Ray Fournier. Both drivers did roll onto the racetrack, and Kyle Fitzpatrick, not at the circuit, is a part of tonight's driver lineup, though. We'll see if he'll make it in time for the grid. Wesley, though, is standing by with your pole sitter tonight. It's his first pole of the season, in fact, Wesley.
First pole for the driver here at Vegas of Caden Anderson for the Northwest iRacing Cup Series. And Caden, if you will, are you happy with the group qualifying hiccup? Yes, it was a mistake. I'll have details on that in a moment, but you are on the pole. What's your thoughts as we get ready to go to green?
Yeah, of course, the group qualifying played a big factor into tonight's qualifying, and I probably wouldn't have been here tonight, but I gotta thank Dan Lowther for being the lead car there and letting me get the draft on him. I'm excited. I haven't gotten a win yet in this series, and actually any of the series that the Northwest Racing Series has put up, but hopefully we get one tonight.
With this package, how do you feel the race will be here tonight, and you're going to be up in the front of the clean air?
I feel like the race is going to be really good. It's going to be really tight racing, be fun racing, and hopefully get some green flag laps in.
He'll be ready to bring the field to the green flag. Justin and Greg, that is the car number 37 of Caden Anderson. I will have full details of the hiccup in qualifying in just a moment. Back to you guys for the start.
Thank you very much, Wesley, as these drivers now rolling through 1 and 2. Once again, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a tri-oval super speedway, 1.5-mile circuit with progressive banking in the corners from 12 degrees up to 20 degrees. On this circuit. It opened all the way back in the 1990s, 24 years ago. It also seen the Bull Ring open up in 1985, its drag strip and at one point road course in the 1970s. But tonight, these drivers look to put on a show under the lights of the Northwest Cup Series. It's Caden Anderson to control the field, Seth Frazier on the outside front row, field in control of the flagman, who will take home race number 16 of the 2020 Northwest Cup Series season. Let's find out. Green flag waits up at the stand. We're underway from Las Vegas. Several drivers already shuffling onto the top line as Caden Anderson leads lap 1. He's already got back end damage, though, from the start of this race. Frazier with some damage, also getting shuffled out from P3.
Yeah, those two got together, Justin, going off the turn 2 onto the backstretch. There was contact between Frazier and Anderson, and you're seeing already the effect that that's having on the 32 of Frazier, as Dan West Jr. now going to work on Caden Anderson. The battle for the race lead already And it's the 55 of West Jr. getting to the inside. He will get the lead off of turn 4, give lap 2 to the 55, Dan West Jr.
Already several lead changes, but this isn't a surprise with what we've seen so far this season, Greg. Dan West Jr. has been very dominant in some of these races. But look who's closed in this pack already. They pulled away a decent margin from fourth on back. It's O'Hare looking for second.
Stephen O'Hare in the 41 really pulled off the big win at Kansas, and it was really impressive, Justin, to see him manage the fuel strategy to be able to pay off and get that second win of the Truck Series this season. Still looking for that first Cup win, but it looks like he's got something for him today. Those Peels Mandarin Mustangs of him and Tyler King have both looked very strong, and here comes the 41 of O'Hare to the inside of Anderson. This is for second.
That's just up the road. Back single file in that grouping, but everyone else still struggling to get by Seth Frazier. The bottom line is the preferred line for the short and middle run here at Las Vegas, but Frazier just using that momentum as an advantage as Burt gets toward. He's off into the grass, saves it as multiple cars having a check up on the tri-oval.
Great save by Carl Burke in the 53, but he's going to lose a lot of track time and has quite a bit of damage to that number 53 car.
2 cars wrecking in the back. James Vining collected. Also collected in the incident is Brightsman in the aftermath of the checkup.
And that's Sean Brightsman, the 46 car winner at Kansas earlier this season, and that is such a shame for Brightsman and Vining as well.
And a third driver also slammed the wall very hard on the outside. That was Frank Harris with another instance of bad luck. Kevin Smith also got involved with the incident as well. Ottenbacher also with damage. But Greg, based on the replay, it almost looked like, again, Brightsman was checking up. Vining was already committed to the top, and Brightsman just came up and squeezed a bit.
Just thought he was clear, but Vining had so much momentum that he lost that he was already in there, and Brightsman just got caught and up into the wall he went, and just like that, Sean Brightsman, 4 Cup wins on the season, suddenly in the pits early in this number 46 Toyota, and he, I believe, had to take the tow. No, he's rolling in that number 46, but a lot of damage to him. He's no doubt going to have to come in and take that fast repair early today.
Drivers rolling their way off to the pit lane of note. 2 drivers did not make the start, Fournier and Fitzpatrick, and 2 drivers electing to stay out. Stabnow and Tidrick stay out under this caution flag as everyone's off to the pit lane.
Pit lane is open. West is the end. Stabnow, again, as you said, stayed on the racetrack. That was the in-car communication that I just picked up on the radios for LSR TV team a moment ago. They're going to have to do a full reset, a master reset, if you will, on Sean Brightsman's car right now. Ironically, everyone else taking on 4 tires, fuel, splash of that Sunoco race fuel, a tear-off on the windshield, if you will. And here comes Dan West Jr. off the pit lane. Dan Lowther is there. Also, Caden Anderson. Ironic that these drivers were pitting so fast, only 7 laps into it. By the way, I told you I had an update about the hiccup in qualifying. This is what went down. When they had to do a master reset on the server to prepare for this race, they forgot to change the settings to the 1-car qualifying. And in doing so, it made it group qualifying. Some people's consensus was it didn't bother them. Other people were like, why are these cars in front of me messing up my lap times? So that was a hiccup on the LSR, on the Northwest Cup Series part. But I will tell you that when we come back for our next broadcast on July 27th, which will be for the Turning Right A100 at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, the series is thinking of doing a standing start. And if you do not know what a standing start is, they go to the start-finish line, they drop the green flag.
That's interesting, actually, there, Wesley. Have you seen something like that in a stock car race with a standing start like that in your career?
No, never have. I mean, well, actually, I take that back. When I announced something called IndyCar races in Virginia, they get about 30, 40 U cars and they tear them all to hell and they drop the green flag from the start-finish line. Other than that, I've never seen anything like that with a professional race. So I think it's going to be cool if they do that.
And Greg, you just made the point as well. The Roval actually seen that happen this year too for the Cup Series.
Jeff Stabnow was on the pole for that one standing start, and he checked out. I believe Stabnow was on the pole for both the Cup race and the truck race there at the Roval. So
I wasn't there at that time.
Strong weekend, but
I wasn't
yes.
there at that time. Boo.
Yeah, I think that was the week before you came aboard, Wesley, and the Roval
Gotcha.
provided some outstanding racing here in the Northwest Racing Series, and it was a standing start both nights, and boy, that was something. I can tell you, that was something to watch. These full body stock cars on the Roval doing the standing start. I think if we do this up at Canadian Tire in a couple of weeks, it is going to be something to behold.
That's what the plan is. That's what the plan is, guys, is what they're talking about is, you know, they're going to see if anybody, I mean, I guess the eyes have it, the negatives, yay or nay. But I mean, in my opinion, if you're the directors of the series and you call the shots, then, hey, guys, we're doing a stand and start. But the hiccup on group qualifying was definitely not something that they wanted to do. People were very, very surprised by it. And again, that was just a simple error on just getting things set up for the race. But other than that, we will get ready. And a side note, yes, anytime we go to Canada, it is always a fun time. And again, remember also a quick broadcast reminder, guys, and I did say in 2 weeks, no race for the Northwest Cup Series next Monday night. We're taking off because it's too dang hot.
Thank you very much, Wesley, as these drivers continue to race in the nice, cool Las Vegas, Nevada nighttime. But with the strategy call here, it's now Stabno up in the front, Tidrick also staying out. Dan Lowther took 2 tires. Everyone else took 4 tires. About 16th on back took a damage repair gray. So this is going to be interesting how these two hold up at the front and how Lowther holds up on his strategy call.
Not surprised to see BJ Tidrick try something like this. We've seen him try something before. Jeff Stabnow, I gotta admit, I'm a little surprised to see him stay out. I figured with everyone coming in, I figured Stabnow was going to follow the leader as well. But no, he decided to be bold and stay out and get control of this restart. Tidrick, not surprised to see him take a gamble, as he, honestly, I feel like he'd be disappointed with how he qualified there, considering how well he's done over the last few weeks in this series. You know he's going to be looking to try to get himself some track position, and hey, only a few laps on the tires. I figured more cars would have stayed out than the 2 that did. We saw 2 other drivers stay out for a lap. Eric Chaney and Gary Nichols stayed out for an extra lap before pitting, but only 2 drivers on no tires right now, Wesley. So, or Justin and Wesley. Yep. So this will be quite the interesting restart here to see the different strategies at work already.
To reset the top 10, it's Stabnow, Tidrick, Lowther and West Jr., Anderson and White, O'Hare and Marcy, Devin West, and James Thurston quietly up +6 for the drop of the green flag, rounding out the top 10. Overall, your expectations we're about to see on this jump, especially with now the field in full control of the race leader once the pace car drops.
I'm expecting to see Dan Lowther try to make a move on Jeff Stabnow with those 2 tires to try to get as much of an advantage as he can get, but I'm keeping my eye on that guy outside row 2, the big old blue and white Chevy Camaro, Dan West Jr., the first driver on 4 tires. I'm watching for him to maybe make a Cole Custer move here that we saw yesterday in the Cup Series. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Dan West Jr. try a move like that here on this restart.
Already several of the drivers stacking up a little bit. Off and away goes Stabno and Tidrick. Green flags back out. We're racing again in Las Vegas.
And West spun tires there, didn't get going. And Lowther able to clear, and Caden Anderson able to get up in front of him, move Anderson to 4th for the time being.
So a decent launch for the drivers on the older tires. And Wesley, we have an update involving some of the LSR TV cars.
Yeah, I just spoke with Jeff Stabnow, and he said, Wesley, I wanted my guys to stay on the track with me. They left me hanging. I'm a sitting duck. But I do feel I haven't used up my tires that much as well. We got 1 car going to the grass, guys.
Very loose. That's Joshua Marcy losing several positions. Just saves it back into the tri-oval. Able to keep it just out of the traffic from about P11 all the way back to 22nd, as they're side by side still for about 4th on back.
That could have been bad there. Justin and Marcy did a great job hanging on. How about the 2 cars that stayed out? Stabnow and Tidrick doing a good job hanging away. They're actually pulled away from the rest of the pack a little bit, and Tidrick was peeking on Stab now. Now here comes the field led by Caden Anderson in the 37, the pole sitter trying to bring his way back up. He's got the 63 of Lowther, the 41 of O'Hare, Dan West Jr., and Chris White all trying to get up there as well. So the 4 fresh tires and 2 tires in the case of Dan Lowther are now beginning to come up on Stabnow and Tidrick, but boy, those two stayed out doing a good job keeping it up front right now.
Yeah, the question's going to be how long will that keep up? Because several times in the past, in the daytime tracks, we've seen that strategy slip away after a few laps. Both of them pushed up the track. Compare that to the cars on screen. Bit more rotation. Now all of a sudden, the gap that was a few tenths after the first couple laps for Stabnow and Tidrick already down to about a second between first and ninth spot on the racetrack.
And Justin, Dan Lowther had a big moment up in turn number 1 and 2 last time through. He got way loose right here through turns 1 and 2. Much better this time through for that green and yellow number 63 in the 5th position. Meanwhile, behind him, he's getting a little bit of draft from a guy we haven't talked about since the start of the race. Devin West has been hanging out right around 10th most of the day. Here he comes trying to get around Chris White, last week's winner.
Change for the race lead, though. BJ Tidrick trying a couple times to dive to the bottom side on Stabnow. Clucked the apron twice. Now, finally, get to the lap tonight. Not clear, though, quite yet. Caden Anderson on the fresher tires, and Dan West Jr. looking to follow him. Oh, by the way, Dan Loudon talked about fastest lap of the race so far at 29.943 in the top 5 as they're near 3 wide for second.
Anderson trying to fake his way in the middle, and Dan West Jr. trying to do it as well. Tidrick led the lap last time by just 3/100ths of a second. It's going to be a drag race down to the finish line this time between Tidrick and Stabnow. Stabnow had him at that time for the line, I believe. Yes, by just 1/100th of a second.
Tidrick still running that bottom line. But that's the tricky part when it comes to Las Vegas on the short run. So many drivers until about lap 20 when these cars with this package and tire model came here in the springtime could be even just like this. All the way to that point, then the tires would start falling off.
Wide for the race lead. Stabnow continuing to lead it right now, but Caden Anderson wants it. He's the lone wolf there on the inside, and you're seeing what we just talked about there, Justin, with these cars being able to hang with each other here still early in this run. Anderson trying to poke his nose out, got in front of BJ Tidrick, now trying to get to work on Stabnow. Tidrick's going to fall in behind Anderson in front of Chris White. Anderson almost has Stabnow clear. He does off the turn 4. Stabnow's going to try the crossover. Lap traffic lying ahead, but at the line, Anderson has it.
That's Kevin Smith up the road. He sat at the pits for several laps after he was involved in the first lap caution. 9 laps down he is right now, about 15 car lengths up the road. The fresher tires now coming up in playing a factor. West Jr. drafting his way down the backstretch. O'Hare moving up, and Tidrick, now that he has lost clean air, is going backwards like a rock and taking Lowther with him.
Dan Lowther's kind of stuck behind him right now, trying to get around him on the inside right now. Can't do it. It's now Scott Mann, Devin West able to get around him. That's going to drop him to about 10th position. Here comes Steve Paulson in the 58. We talked about him in the pre-race, needing a big night tonight. He is trying to creep up right now and make moves. Daryl Tidrick as well. Daryl Tidrick is up 8 positions, Justin, from the drop of the green flag. Started 19th. He's up to 11th. One of the biggest movers in the race thus far. By my count, the biggest mover of the day so far. Ricky Bozer, the 42, up 12 positions, 26th to 14th so far. Make it 13 as he's up now to the 13th spot.
He's quickly cutting through the field, and Kevin Smith over the radio saying he is staying on the bottom side for the race leaders. Significant right side damage on that race car. Not a factor for the race leader, but it's going to get very interesting once the pack gets here behind him. About third on back because they're still side by side, in fact near 3 wide.
Yeah, great racing throughout the pack. Stephen O'Hare up there in the middle. He's got Chris White. And how about Scott Mann in the 90? Haven't mentioned him yet. He is working his way up into the top 3 right now. Going after O'Hare.
Turn 1. Several drivers slided around. Brightsman forced down to the apron. After contact from behind, Frazier nearly spun around Daryl Tidrick. in the middle of 1 and 2's apex.
Those two are teammates, so definitely some miscommunication there between the teammates, Frazier and Daryl Tidrick. They all get it straightened out for right now, though. They're Justin, so able to keep it pointing right now, but they lost a lot of time.
He's checking up big time now after some of the trouble. Now back to the bottom side. He goes in that grouping. You can see Lowther, though, still trying to hold on to the top 8 at the moment. As believe we have an update of what's going on with that 00. Remember, 9 laps down, now 10 rather, after staying in the pits for several laps.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, the Jegs 00 entry, just struggling. He said that his car did not handle well in qualifying. It didn't go well. Thought he had a pretty good run in practice, but the car did not go well in the group qualifying session. He's one of those drivers that kind of had the nay for the deal. And then from there on, the car has just been off. He's missed on the setup. He needs a caution to try to come back out there and get back in the game. But since he got caught with those problems at the start, he's fell back, and now he's got contact.
That's what Jeff Snapp now. He's on the apron, slides to the bottom of the racetrack, and saves it again. We stay green with 110 to go. That could have been disastrous.
That was very, very close to being a disaster, like you just mentioned, for some of those guys. And Stab now trying to recover in that number 24 after the contact. He is getting going with Devin West on his outside. That's for 6th right now.
Oh, wrecking on the back straightaway. Hard of the wall goes Paulison. Caution is out for the 2nd time after getting hooked by BJ Tidrick.
We talked about Paulison needing a big run, and all of a sudden, he's going to have his work cut out for him as he's going to have to take a fast repair. A lot of damage to the Jim Bean entry.
Daryl Tidrick also bouncing off in that incident. Several other drivers having to lock up the brakes. But the interesting thing is, already BJ Tidrick was clear up on the top, and then Paulison wiggled up the track, Greg, it looked like.
Just a little wiggle, so unfortunately, just a chain reaction there. Paulison on pit road, contact with BJ Tidrick. Tough break for both those guys. Tidrick on the hot streak that we talked about. Paulison needing a big run, and unfortunately, looks like it might not be the night for those guys, as Paulson struggling to get into his pit stall. Gets the fast repair, so he'll be back out here shortly. But here we are, 2nd caution of the day, and Wesley, the entire field is coming to you.
Wesley.
Pit road is open. Drivers are coming in for pit stops for the 2nd time this race. Caden Anderson, the pole car, will make his way around the curvy pit road here at Las Vegas that we spoke about earlier. As the Harvest Connections entry 37 goes to his pit stall, the call is in. 4 tires all the way around. Splash of Sunoco fuel. Chassis adjustments needed be as well. And they're going to give a tear off on the windshield. Frazier's car will do the same. And joining us now also on in-car communications is Stephen Paulison, driver of the number 58 machine, as they exit off of pit road. Stephen, what is your take of the accident on the back straightaway? As you did tell me, it will be a master reset.
Yep, had to take the reset, and yeah, it was kind of pack racing out here.
Is this?
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got a clear there, and I wasn't clear, so I apologize to whoever I came up on there.
Is it because of the package that the cars are using, or do you think people aren't happy with it? Is it really upsetting the race cars because of the racing package affecting the race right now in the early going the way it is?
Oh, they're really pretty well planned with all the downforce. That's why we're kind of in a pack like this, and there was a lot of tight things, and where I ended up making a mistake was not a hard thing.
Well, I know you're going to get that reset and get back out there. Justin, that is Stephen Paulison. Again, a reset is coming. He'll get back at the tail of the field to continue with this race. But again, yeah, I feel like for a second, I'm watching Daytona or Talladega, if you will, because of the pack racing. It looks like a tandem draft. Everybody packed up together like a super speedway race, and it's all because of this car package they've got. Guys, back to you in the booth.
Thank you very much, Wesley. And you hit it right on the nose, I think. Actually, he did as well. Greg, it's been like that. It was like this in the springtime when these cars came to this track in the official service. It can be difficult to try and make moves when it's like that as a group.
Yeah, it makes it super difficult to make those moves like you talked about, because that draft, you're not used to seeing a draft on a track like this that you would see at Daytona and Talladega, the plate races that Wesley was mentioning. You're not used to seeing that type of racing here on this track, and yet here we are seeing it. So a lot of these drivers are having to real quick learn the track. And I was talking with Caden Anderson a little bit before the race. He said it's a good thing that he spent so much time doing these big car races in the iRacing official server, doing these big car races, the A fixed, B fixed, C fixed at these big tracks, because it's giving him experience in that whole realm of driving. And you can see right now it's paying off. Put it on the pole and has led the most laps here so far today. So Caden Anderson, seat time paying off. Could this be the night he gets the first win? He's looking pretty strong right now.
He's the first man off the pit road, by the way, as these drivers now get a 2 to go signal this time. Dan West Jr. in second, O'Hare in third, Scott Mann in fourth. Sean Brightsman, though, taking the track position call. He took 2 tires during that last stop. That was after the longest run of the race so far, Greg, though.
Yeah, Brightsman has been known to do that throughout the season there, Justin, but I'm a little surprised he did it this early. I'm not so sure if it will work out for him. He's surprised us before. Here he is going to be restarting 5th, but he's got the track position now. But remember, he already has that fast repair used after the heavy hit early in the race. So we'll see if he can hang on with the draft here on those 2 tires. Lowther was able to hang in there on the 2 tires, but like you mentioned, a lot more laps on those left sides on the 46 than there were on the 63.
Would you rather those start in P16 on 4 tires, or have the chance to start in the top 5 on 2?
Yeah, tough call. I think you're right there with the track position here being as important as we've seen it be thus far. Brightsman taking the gamble, and we know he's won the gamble. He's won several races this year on a 2 tire stop, so we'll see how it goes. And Justin, something new with this build. Oh, no, never mind. Caden Anderson was going to try to take the outside, but it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, he thought about taking outside, then went back inside as the 1 to go signals in. But Wesley, you have an update.
West Racing updates, guys, if you will. The points leader of this series for the Northwestern Cup Series in Season 1, Dan West Jr., right now in P2. The car is still questionable. Why? Because he set the car for a long green flag run. The car's not loose. He just feels like if we can get a good 20-30 lap run under his belt, he can really have a good idea of what the car will do in the race for him. His son, Devin West, my car's a rocket. I'm ready to bring it to the front. Watch that number 5 car of Devin West. He feels like his car is going to be something to contend with in the race. And finally, Caden Anderson is also a part of West Racing tonight, and they are giving him pointers, helping him possibly win his first career Northwestern iRacing Cup Series event, as he still sits in the number 1 spot from the pole position.
Thank you very much, Wesley. And that confidence definitely helping out so far, it seems, and that advice. Back in control of the field for the 2nd time on a start. 2nd restart overall on the evening. This time he's in control of the field. Pace car is off. Early jump this time. We're back racing.
Anderson trying to get going and get out in front of his teammate Dan West Jr. operating under the West Family Racing team tonight. And Anderson's kind of been working with them in his limited starts here in this series, Justin. So not surprised to see him working with them again tonight. Really seems to be paying off as he gets out in front of Dan West Jr. Meanwhile, side-by-side battle for 3rd. How about Scott Mann in the number 90 hanging tough with there with Stephen O'Hare, the 41.
And Kevin Smith now be given a black flag for changing lanes before the start and finish line. Here's the crazy part. He's dead last on the racetrack.
That's a tough break, and that's just a bad night going worse for Kevin Smith in the 00. So black flag already, and here he comes. Here we go. Battle for the lead, though. Look at this 4-car train going into turn 3, right up nose to tail with each other. Anderson, West, O'Hare, and Mann all trying to get up there in front as Devin West and I believe Jeff Stabnow closing in.
Yes, indeed. 5-6 car breakaway. Anderson preferring the middle line in 1 and 2. West Jr. moves up there as well. O'Hare trying to rim right to the bottom side. Man following that drive. Devin Weston is now making the pass, though, on Jeff Stabnow. Remember, Stabnow got hit by Smith as he tried to navigate around the traffic. That in turn holding him up with a left side damage. Oh, well, Dan West Jr. wants the race lead on the bottom side.
It was Anderson that time by 3 100s, but Dan West Jr. not giving up. You know Dan West Jr. likes going out and leading these races, and here it is again. He led a little bit early, but Anderson has had pretty firm control on it ever since getting back to the lead on that previous green flag run. He's going to fight back on the inside. Ooh, a little close there between Anderson and West, and this is allowing the 41 to get back up into the mix.
He's chosen to try and draft off West Jr. Anderson taking the shortcut on the bottom side of the racetrack. Again, West Jr. runs the middle line. He tries to squeeze, pushes though up the racetrack, burps the throttle again as Anderson falls behind. Dan West Jr. back to the point of the 55 as O'Hare now cuts to the bottom.
Stephen O'Hare, winner just this past Thursday at Kansas Speedway. You can catch that replay on LSR TV. And here comes O'Hare looking for that first Cup win of the season, trying to get up and make a run at Caden Anderson. Scott Mann hanging in there in 4th position, trying to get up there as well. West Jr. leading the way right now. Anderson fighting back on the outside of O'Hare.
Under 100 laps to go, coming to 98 to go this time. Mann looking to make a statement. It's been a rough campaign for Scott Mann after a strong start. He's now up in one of the highest positions we've seen Mann in weeks. P3 on the move on the bottom side. Just can't get clear yet. Looking like he's trying to squeeze him out. Oh, well, Anderson and West Jr. still again side by side for that lead.
This time Anderson gets the inside, which is where West was able to make that move. Saw Anderson preferring the high line, but he was able to take away that line from Dan West Jr. because he knows that West likes the inside, and that was his shot to make the pass there, but West able to fend him off as the side-by-side battle breaks out behind him. Look who is trying to creep back up into the picture, sitting in 6th now. Justin behind this, Joshua Marcy. Remember, he went and mowed the grass earlier in the race. He is back up in the 6th.
Had trouble down the back straightaway. Kevin Smith, a self-spin after clipping the apron coming off of turn 2. No caution flag. He had used his reset on the caution flag. So Smith's night going horrifically.
No doubt that Kevin Smith is going to want to forget his night here in the Sin City. And he's just going to want to get ready for Thursday, I bet, at this point, because it has just been a disappointing night for him.
Still no the lead. Looking like it's preferring the middle line now. Seems like drivers have figured out that's more the better line compared to running around the white line, especially that momentum off the corner. It's become the preferred line for just about everybody except for Scott Mann.
Yeah, Scott Mann still trying to get the run on the inside of Stephen O'Hare. That's your first side-by-side battle. O'Hare able to clear him momentarily as now Jeff Stabnow to the outside.
That single file went out though a little bit. Stabnow in the grouping was well, and then is standing by though with the 00.
Yeah, I'm here on the pit lane with Kevin Smith in the 00. Kevin, it just seems like this Jags car has had problems all day long at Vegas. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, it really started from qualifying. Didn't realize even there was a group qualifying deal and got a little bit late into that deal and didn't really understand that deal. So I didn't qualify too well, then got back in the pack and got caught up in somebody else's wreck. And then didn't use the fast repair when I should have. And then, you know, it's just calamity of errors. So we're just going to pull it in tonight and come back next week and try.
I will say this, because you compete on also the Northwest iRacing Truck Series that I call in the booth on Thursday nights, and we'll be here at Vegas on Thursday. Is there anything you can take from the failures tonight for the positives that you've had in the last couple of weeks in the truck competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think every week for me is just a learning experience. You know, I'm fast, I have some speed. I just got to race a little bit better, be a little bit smarter, and put my truck and put myself in a little better position. Just experience. A lot of these guys have been racing this a long time, and I just need to gain a little bit of that. So looking forward to it.
That's Kevin Smith, gentlemen. He is out of the race. First truck that's out joining Ryan Fournier. As a matter of fact, Ray Fournier is also out of the race. And if we do get a caution flag, the 37 Darlington winner, Tidrick, could be the man to get the free pass to go back to the front.
Thank you very much, Leslie. As the leaders now reaching a bit of traffic, and Daryl Tidrick now 2 laps down at the moment of the battles that have been going on in this grouping. O'Hare side by side with Stabnow. He's picked up pace now on this long run. Devin West looking to get into the fight as well. So several drivers slowly creeping up as this run continues to progress here, Greg.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on Jeff Stabnow trying to make his way up as he's going to work now on Scott Mann, who's kind of lost touch now with that battle. We saw him up there as high as 3rd a moment ago. O'Hare also up there in 3rd position. He's fallen back now into the 5th position. He's trying to get that back now from Stabnow. Devin West on the inside. Josh Marcy, and winner 2 weeks ago at the Brickyard. Chris White, the 83 as well. Ricky Bozer, meanwhile, Justin, he has continued his charge to the front. He has now cracked the top 10 after starting 26th position, not taking a qualifying time. Started on the provisional. He has climbed into the top 10. Great run for him.
Look at this, though. Peeking to the bottom side. Lowder nearly made it 3 wide into 1 and 2. But 2 cars are joining the fray. Seen a little bit of Seth Frazier in the backdrop, but how about Ricky Bozier? Didn't put in a qualifying run after getting loose several times. Got in lane in the group stage. Now he's driving on the outside of several cars, looking to make his way up to the highest he's been tonight. Nearly plus 19, now plus 19, up into 7.
He tried to make a lap, but got caught up in an accident and just said, you know what, I'm just going to start in the back and see if I can work my way up. And he has done an outstanding job. 26th to 7th and still charging forward right now. Ricky Bozer, could this be a breakout race for that 42 car?
Yeah, he's looked very clean, it seems, throughout this long run now. 88 to go this time. Kept the car clean. Kind of taking a different line, though, in the throttle compared to some of the others. A couple drivers seem to be letting it roll a little bit more. He's able to get a little bit more higher up on corner exit and isn't getting as close to the wall on the corner entries, yes, but has been able to just stay around the white line in the corners.
Yeah, he's having a hard time keeping it there on the bottom. We're seeing several cars, though, run the high side there intentionally, so maybe that might be what you want to do throughout the corners. So we'll see if maybe he's able to adapt to that moving forward here.
One of the things that was talked about, Greg, to drivers in the briefing entering tonight, though, was they expected loads of grip, yes, but it's a high camber setup with a lot of tire heat and potential wear. They warned drivers to try and find that balance between going all out and trying to conserve the right front. It almost looks like, with what you mentioned with him starting to get tight, that he's losing the right front right there in the apex.
Yeah, definitely there, Justin. So aero tight coming into play once again here in this package. And this is something we've seen this year. With the Cup package, it really gets aero tight on the long run. We're closing in. As a matter of fact, I think we have hit the longest green flag run of the race so far. So we're starting to see that really settle in here late in the run.
West Jr. and Anderson have pulled away by about nearly a full second from this train for 3rd. Chris White trying to make a move for P3. Special paint scheme saying happy 14th birthday to Cassie tonight. Looking to try and move that car into the top 3 now on the bottom side.
Trying to make the move. Indianapolis winner to the inside of Stabnow. Has the nose in front. Can't quite get him clear. Trying to get him down the backstretch. Stabnow just so strong there on the outside on corner exit. As you see that incredible speed out of that 24 Ford Mustang. Back comes the 83 Ford Mustang of Chris White. Finally broke through. Got that first win of the season. And now trying to follow suit here with the race at Vegas. Meanwhile, up front, Caden Anderson and Dan West Jr., they are nose to tail. Anderson taking a peek inside once again, but not able to make the move just yet.
Yeah, just sticking along for the time being. And the more fighting that goes on, by the way, for that 3rd place grouping, the better it looks for these two. Because they're able to get a bit of a gap, run off and away, off to the races. Compare that to 3rd and 4th. Stabno and White haven't been working together. They're side by side still for that spot. Wesley, you have an update though for the pits.
Dan West Jr., remember what we talked about? He needed to have that long green flag run. Well, guess what, gentlemen? He's got it, and that car is being absolutely stellar right now. No harm, no foul, no problems whatsoever. Now, Anderson, he's playing wingman, if you will. Maverick and Goose are 1 and 2 on the racetrack. Dan West Jr. told Caden, listen, let me show you how to get around Vegas, and let's knock off some laps before we start racing one another. That's exactly what they're doing. They're both comfortable with their cars. They feel their cars are exactly identical. Devin West Jr.'s as well. And those drivers are ready to come to halfway here in about 15 laps or so. And then the second half of the race, all bets are off. Those drivers are 1 and 2. Dan West Jr., the points leader of the series, trying to help out a young driver in Caden Anderson. What an awesome story here, as again, they're both driving similar cars, happy with things here at Vegas.
Thank you very much, Wesley. And of course, one thing to think about, it's a fixed series setup, yes, but the way drivers handle the setup, Greg, is different. That's one of the main keys, and how the drivers then adapt to that setup for the different racing lines. Very interesting to hear that West Jr. and Anderson are near identical with how they've been able to drive their cars.
That just shows you just how similar their driving styles are there, Justin. You can make minimal adjustments to the car. You can really, the real main adjustment you can make is in the steering box. You can change the ratio, and you can change a couple other things with the steering box. That's the main thing you can adjust on it in these fixed setup races. And like you said, very interesting to hear that Anderson and West are running pretty much identical setups right now. So that's just a testament to how similar their driving styles are.
Keep in mind, though, Anderson's starting to slip back a little bit. Also picking up pace. That's Marcy on the bottom side. This is for P6. Remember, Marcy fell all the way back to 22nd after that slide off onto the apron at the early part of the race.
He's trying to fend off Ricky Bozer right now in that number 42. He's trying to break up another spot. If Bozer can make this pass on Josh Marcy here, this will make the 42 car plus 20 in 56 laps.
That actually dropped him back to 19 positions gain, Greg, in fact, because Marcy, he's coming. He's the same pace, in fact, a little quicker than the race leaders right now.
So Josh Marcy has only made a couple of starts on the series this year, but he has been very impressive with the speed that he has in that number 35. Ran Toyota up until tonight, making the switch over to Chevy here for this race. Paying off right now, qualified 7th, up in 6th right now. A lot of speed in him. Who knows? Maybe he can make some noise for his first win. But we are beginning to see a battle brew for a second, Justin, as Chris White is now beginning to close in on Caden Anderson.
He has looked very strong on this run, it looks like, Greg. Remember, that car had a 25-second pit stop the last time, having to get some damage repair done on the left side. Doesn't look that way, though. In fact, he's the quickest out of the drivers inside the top 4 right now, and closing in about half a tenth to a tenth a lap.
He's very strong right now on the racetrack here, Justin, trying to get up into position to put himself into a position to strike, as lap traffic beginning to now feel the window of Dan West Jr. One car beginning to creep up. That's the 333 of James Vining.
Yeah, Vining, you mentioned him. He's around in the battle for 14 on the racetrack. Ricky Bozer, meanwhile, just got shuffled 2 positions to back to 10th spot, though, just up the road. Vining's in the mix-up battle, but Bozer, he's going backwards. All of a sudden, the pace has just dropped off from that tightness.
Oh boy, Dan West Jr., race leader, just got hit trying to go around, and all of a sudden the race leader in the wall.
That was contact with Hagan. Lap traffic, who nearly knocked down the wall and turned it straight into the race leader. You see here on the replay, you'll see it on the exit of turn 4, Greg. It almost looked like Hagan knew he was about to hit the wall and cut hard left right into West.
What a tough break for Dan West Jr. And Justin, we've seen this quite a couple times this season, Dan West Jr. has something happen in the middle of the race, and unfortunately, it drops him deep in the field. He's going to be 19th position here at the end of it, and heavy damage. And man, oh man, that's got to be disheartening for Jeffrey Hagan as well, because he has made limited starts in that number 28 car. In fact, I believe this may even be his debut tonight, and to have that happen just got to be heartbreaking.
One of his first starts, remember, made a start at the Brickyard. It wasn't a pretty debut either for him, Greg. And now, not a pretty second race. That's Lost Anderson, his drafting buddy, and Chris White, now with a chance to battle for the race lead.
Chris White right on the bumper. Back-to-back wins, perhaps, for the 83. You know that's what he's thinking, because he won that first race at the Brickyard 2 weeks ago. He wants to keep that momentum going in his number 83 Ford Mustang. Again, wishing Cassie a happy birthday. He's going to the outside for the race lead now on Caden Anderson.
Just not able to set it up quite yet with the dirty air. It can be difficult, despite the super speedway style drafting the short runs, to get a pass on the long run. But Wesley, you're standing by in the pits.
I just spoke with the in-car communications with Dan West Jr. Obviously very dejected. It's messed up. He's going to have to do a reset. He was hoping that the caution flag would have came out. He was thinking, he actually said, and I quote, "Go figure, I have something happen to me and they don't call caution." That's the points leader, Dan West Jr. But he says, "Hagan, what were you thinking?" That was the communication, the 28, his 3 laps down. Kagan says he didn't mean to get into him. It was just simply bouncing off the wall, and all of a sudden there was the leader. But Dan West Jr. needing a caution flag, or he's going to have to possibly come to the pits here within the next 10 laps to possibly play now a strategy game to get back in the race. But he did tell Caden Anderson, "I've done all I can do to try to help you out till this mishap. You're on your own now."
And here's part of the problem, and now being on his own, Chris White trying to take away the race lead from him. The pass by Tidrick as side-by-side back to single file. Heck of a battle.
I think seeing Tidrick coming off the track may have made Chris White second guess if he wanted to keep going on that run, because he backed off on corner exit to give Tidrick room to come up if he needed it. That cost him a real shot at the lead there, as he was to the door of Anderson for quite a bit. It was only 2/100ths of a second there last time by, now back up to a 10th. And meanwhile, that side-by-side battle that's going on, look who that's beginning to bring into the fray. How about the 24, Jeff Stabnow?
32-1 last time by, the side-by-side, lost the 2 leaders, 3/10. As the caution is out, and it's in 1 and 2. Eric Cheney involved, several other cars involved. And to add even more of a painful blow to Dan West Jr., this was just after he had pitted.
Oh, so caution coming out. I saw Gary Nichols involved. Eric Cheney spun around. Oh man, I would not want to be on that radio with Dan West Jr. right now.
See on the onboard, it's a mistake we see a lot of times, it seems, Greg. Drivers lose focus and just slam into the outside wall, trying to arc it into the corner.
Just one little slip up is all it takes here at the 1.5-mile track such as Vegas, where we're at tonight. Just one slight little slip is all it takes.
And Dan West Jr. nearly got involved in another incident. He just avoided some of the drivers as they slid down onto the apron. He's now a lap down after the caution as well.
That's going to be a tough pill to swallow for Dan West Jr., but they are on pit road. Wesley's down there checking in with a couple of drivers right now, but the field is on pit road, Justin, so here we go. See how it goes as the field pulls into their stalls.
Off and away for their service as the timing of the caution flag. That insult to injury, because West Jr. was still coming off the pit lane just as the caution flag came out. Hagan is the lucky dog in this scenario. As Wesley, you're in the pits.
Actually, Dan West Jr. is going to get the free pass, gentlemen. He is actually really not that upset. The only thing he's really upset about is everybody came down the pit road. He's a sitting duck, but he's only a sitting duck by like 2 laps, because this puts Dan West Jr. back on the lead lap. So he'll go to the tail of the field of the lead cars. But again, everyone comes to pit road. As we all mentioned, Anderson had a good stellar pit stop. So did Staff now. Chris White, all looking good. Marcy's good. Frazier's good. Brightsman, who even got caught up in an accident in the beginning of this thing. That 46 is back in the top 10 run, and so is O'Hare and Mann. So again, Dan West Jr. a little upset by not much. Free pass. He'll go to the lead lap. He'll work his way arcing through traffic to get back to the front. It's still not over yet, as we're only after halfway.
Just past that halfway point, we'll take a quick step aside. You're watching LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Northwest Cup Series action from Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
They say everything is bigger. These guys down in Texas aren't messing around. This feature race will separate the boys from the men, the girls from the ladies. Can you handle racing 300 laps for $25,000? It's not as easy as you think. We don't stop to tow those too weak. We just push them out of the way. We don't run 20 laps. We run 300 each night. We don't care about what you and your boys have under the hood. Bring all you got. Don't be scared. Call my Cowboy Jack today to get signed up. It all goes down on October 2nd and 3rd in Mesquite, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Kenny Wallace is coming back this year to try again. You don't have excuses. Go to LoneStar600.com now.
Welcome back, as Dan West Jr. just got the wave around to get back in the lead lap. Justin Prince alongside Greg Renz. Wesley Altman in the pits. Charles Wooden in the director's seat. As everyone lines up with the one-to-go signal, it's Caden Anderson to the lead. Jeff Stabnow in second. Row 2, White and Marcy, Frazier and Brightsman row 3, O'Hare and Mann in row 4, Weston Lowther in row 4. These drivers about to get set for the second half of what has been actually a very good race so far tonight.
It has been a good race here, Justin. It's been a race kind of patience and trying to pick your moment to make the move that you want to make. A race of attrition, if you will. We're a little bit past halfway here, and Caden Anderson has been very strong. Led a good chunk of the early portion. Teammate Dan West Jr. taking the lead. Then West Jr. had his problems, so watch out for that 55 to come charging through the field. But right now, it's up to Caden Anderson, but how about the challenge he's about to face with Jeff Stabnow, who is outside?
Pace car is off. Anderson is away. Green flag is out. We're back underway from Sin City.
Anderson with a big jump there in the 37 Chevy to try to get up. Stabnow going to close the door on one of the now 3 purple cars in the field. Justin, as Chris White running some purple as well. To go back to Frazier and Breitzman, we've been talking about that earlier in the season. White to the inside of Stabnow.
Technically, it's about 3.1. As Stabnow gets loose, he slides over the Pennzoil logos. No caution as he keeps it straight on the apron. More cars wrecking into the corner. Louder hard. Several cars crashing. Breitzman's in it. Caution's now out as Burke and company are in it.
That's going to be the end of the day, I think, for Breitzman, because he already used that fast repair. So that will most likely end his day. Several cars involved. Who was that I saw flying in the infield? I saw one car that...
Let's look at the first one, and apparently there may have been a bit of help here, Greg, on this replay from Chris White. Yeah, just tagged him in the left rear, Greg.
Just a tough break there, and just barely catching him. And boy, Stefan O'Hare was right there as well. Nowhere for him to go. Scott Mann was the car that I saw go flying in the pits. Just I saw a streak of him as I was watching Breitzman go by. And Scott Mann has already put it behind the wall and retired from the race.
I think it started around potentially Marcy and company. Lawler got in the secondary part of the incident. Bowser was in it. Several other cars also collected into turn 1 entry. And take a look. They were 4 wide down the front stretch before the crash.
And unfortunately, Justin, just another case. We see it time and time again. We say 4 wide typically doesn't work. We saw it once again here.
Pit lanes open. Several drivers having to duck down after this as we see one more look. At least 5, 10 plus cars in it with several upside down.
Cars on pit road, and
yeah,
the one that I feel the worst for right now is Sean Breitzman, because he had to use the fast repair early in this race, Justin, and he had already used that 2-tire strategy that he's so famous for to try to make progress once again, and yet here he is again.
Wesley, you're in the pits.
Feels like the big one at Daytona or Talladega. Like I said, with this race package we just had the big one here a moment ago. Stabnow damaged, battered. He'll try to continue along. Dan Lowther with a car looking like a modified instead of a late model or a NASCAR Cup car. He'll now pull off the pit lane. Everyone else also continues along for the finish of whatever this race will be. And joining me on LSR TV Pit Communications is Sean Breitzman. Breitzman, you will park it. You are done. A tough day in 46. High hopes. You did get back to the front after that first repair. What's your take of Las Vegas tonight?
Oh, it's just a rough one. It's, you know, it's racing. Things happen. I mean, the first wreck, I was just kind of paying attention to what was going on in front. I didn't hear a call for James outside of me, and kind of hooked me there into the outside wall and destroyed it pretty good there. And then whatever happened here in front, I just got collected there at the last minute. Thought I had it cleared.
Would you say that this race reminds you a lot of a super speedway event?
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the Cup cars now on the 1.5 miles anyway. But sometimes, you know, it's a night race, so there's a lot more grip, less. Everybody's kind of falling off the same, but it's definitely like a super speedway.
A tough break for Sean Breitzman. He is out and done here, guys, for part of the Team LSR TV, team in 46. And also, I spoke with Jeff Stabnow in 24, and he said, Wesley, it's my fault. I got off the exit of the corner, and the car simply fishtailed, came around me. The 83 of Chris White, who has the most wins in the series, by the way, with 4 here, had nowhere to go, simply got into him. A racing deal. They'll race another day. Breitzman's out. We'll see if Jeff Stabnow can get back to the front. Right now, he's outside the top 10 in 12th. But again, he has a repair. Breitzman doesn't. Breitzman is out. And again, no harm, no foul on Chris White's part for Stabnow.
Thank you, Wesley, as these drivers line up at 58 to go. Worth mentioning that most drivers can make it on fuel from this point on here, Greg, and that's why about 9th on back did duck down during this caution flag, whether they were in the incident or not. In fact, several others are starting to top off once again.
Yeah, just get that fuel topped off so you know for sure you can go the rest of the way, and then it just becomes a game of tire management from here on. And hoping you can catch another caution to maybe get more tires on if you have for a late charge to the front. But drivers good to go on fuel from here, but they're topping off just to be safe. Top 3 as we reset. Caden Anderson, Seth Frazier, the winner here earlier this season. He's back up into the 2nd position. And Devin West has climbed up onto the podium for the first time tonight.
Yeah, all 3 you just mentioned stayed out. Chris White stayed out in 4th. Walters, Vining, Ottenbacher, Tidrick all stayed out. Here's the gamble though, Greg. If there's an air caution and they come down, they can make it for sure. If there's a green flag run for 55 laps, then it's not so sure, Greg.
It's super close here, Justin. So these drivers, no doubt, are going to be hoping they catch maybe one more caution just so they can get a chance to top off. But we've seen races come down the fuel mileage in this series before, so who knows? We could see it again.
By the way, to recap, 17 drivers. Check that, 19 on the lead lap. Several others having to get damage repairs done during this caution flag. 20th now is Jeffrey Hagan. He got the lucky dog. He is now the first car 1 lap down. Breitzman getting repairs still on his race car off and on. Ricky Boger, Eric Cheney, Daryl Tidrick also pinned several laps down. Everyone else still on that valuable lead lap as the Wendigo signals now out on the pace car.
Caden Anderson will start on the inside, has been the control car quite a couple times this evening in the 37 after starting on the pole, and he was very excited to be on the pole in that number 37. But now we got a rematch of the initial start, Justin, as Seth Frazier's to his outside, much like on the initial start. So here we go. Rematch from the initial start, but the second row is a whole lot different as we got Devin West and Chris White up here.
And remember, a couple lap fresher tires and fuel to make it to the end. 9th on back in this pack. Anderson and Frazier row 1, Devin West, Chris White row 2, Walters and Vining row 3, Ottenbacher and Marcy row 4, Tidrick and Thurston round out the top 10 as we get ready to get back racing at Las Vegas. Top line really bunching up, actually laying up back a half a lane or so as off and away goes Anderson. Top lane caught sleeping and then some.
And boy, oh boy, the driver starting in 5th, Corey Walters, was also caught sleeping, and Devin West taking the big advantage out of that to get around Frazier. But White and Frazier catch a break there that Corey Walters was also caught sleeping, as Frazier's only going to lose 1 spot. Chris White, he's still trying to hold on for that 4th spot.
Walters was able to get to the bottom side and take away P4. Everyone else, for the most part, single file as Vining goes way up the racetrack. Nearly slapping the wall as he slaps it with 55 laps to go this time.
Wonder if the cat got to him once again as Anderson trying to pull away now from Devin West into number 5. 2 drivers that are very hungry for their first Northwest Cup Series wins. Caden Anderson, he's still looking for that first ever Northwest Racing Series victory. So He is hungry up there right now. You got Devin West in second, and oh, by the way, the driver in third just so happened to win here last time the series was here. You got Chris White, winner 2 weeks ago. How about Corey Walters into number 9? He's up in the 5th position trying to get back around Chris White. How big would this be if he could pull this off?
Yeah, Walters, remember, started off with a victory at Daytona. But how don't we feel the thunder a little bit here from Las Vegas? Race leaders Anderson, Frazier, Devin West. Chris White round out the top 4. Fight is still on for about 5th on back though. O'Hare in 20th position, 2 laps down though, is in the middle of the fight, Greg.
He's trying to hang on there and not lose too much ground to try to put himself back in a position that he might be able to get a lucky dog, but he has got work to do as he's the first car 2 laps down, but there's 2 cars ahead of him a lap down, Hagan and Breitzman. So he's right now just trying to hang on there and put himself in position to be there. But up front, Kenyon Anderson still leading. Seth Frazier has gotten around Devin West for second. In comes Josh Marcy to the inside of Chris White. We're inside 50 to go, and we are seeing something now.
He was one of the drivers involved in the last caution flag. Took the faster pair, topped off, did not take tires though. Just can't get clear of Chris White on the bottom side. Up towards the front though. O'Hare's now getting to the inside of the race leader.
And remember, that's not for the race lead. He's just trying to get himself back 1 lap down in that number 41 car. Second place is the 32. He got the back of Anderson. Kenyon Anderson's not going to be too thrilled about that as they cross the stripe once again here. O'Hare trying to fight to get back 1 lap down, and this is allowing Seth Frazier to close back in.
Lap traffic ahead, it's Breitzman. He's now about to go 2 laps down with significant damage, and O'Hare blocks the leader to the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh my goodness. Caden Anderson in the 37, you can almost feel the steam coming off of him in that number 37 car. You know he's fuming right now because he's now got to worry about the 32 of Frazier.
Did I mention the driver in the lucky knock spot is at the back of the pack, still at least 3/4 of a track ahead?
Stephen O'Hare just doing everything he can right now to try to put himself in that position, but like you just said, he's 3/4 of a lap behind that guy, so I'm not so sure why racing so aggressively with the race leader right there.
Of note, Eric Cheney tapped the wall on his own. He's now bound down on the apron in the 71. That was coming into turn 1, the second time he has done that tonight. He's now rolled his way into the pit lane. Meanwhile, BJ Tidrick joining the fun for the first time in a while. This is for 7th.
Yeah, BJ Tidrick, nice recovery after getting caught up in some trouble early in this one. He has fought his way back into the top 10. And remember, he's that driver we were talking about that was on the hot streak. So Tidrick having another solid run in the 72, the Darlington winner, trying to get around Josh Marcy. He will move the 72 to 7th. He's being followed by Carl Berg, who also is having a nice recovery.
Some of the race leaders starting to spread out. Wesley, though, you're standing by in the pits.
It's time to go through the field as we approach lap 100 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And where do we start off then? With the pole car, the first place car. Right now, Caden Anderson, who just had a little incident with lap traffic of O'Hare, who's also with a free pass car. Now both cars a lap down along with Hagan. Hagan at one time was 3 laps down, but anyhow, Anderson had a pretty good run. Hooked up with the West family here tonight. They've been helping him along the way. A strong piece if he can hold on. Looking for that first win in the Northwestern iRacing Cup Series. Seth Frazier, a real racer in boot as well. Oh yes, that car looks good. The purple 32 and P2. Haven't mentioned it much tonight, but that car's in one piece and he's ready to come to the home stretch. And Devin West, the man in the number 5 car, the young man, has, we mentioned, how he felt a good car. It took a little while to get up there, but he currently right now sits in the number 3 spot. Alongside, behind him in 4th, and then 5th place is going to be Thurston. They're flip-flopping positions. James Thurston, a driver that has had an up-and-down roller coaster, maybe bad than good season in the 2 car, has got that number 2 car piece looking good at Vegas tonight. He battles along Devin West. Behind him, Jeff Stabnow had a hiccup with a loose car coming off of 4, tagged in with Chris White. White got into him. It caused the big one, like Daytona or Talladega light at Vegas. He now is trying to get back through the field after trying to make the right pit stops, the right segments and adjustments to stay in the fight. He's now moving around Devin West, his teammate. Chris White, we mentioned him a moment ago. He has been quietly in that purple metallic 83 car, making his moves through the field. He sits in 6th, ready to go for the home stretch. Along also a great run for my friend Carl Burke. Carl Burke's one of those drivers that used to have mechanical issues or hit the wall, have problems not of his doing. And the last couple of weeks, maybe the last month, Justin and Greg, it's been a turnaround for that young man in the 53. What a story for that driver, having health issues a couple of years ago and just saying it's good to be back inside of a race car as Devin West pushes up the racetrack as Burke tries to push through the top 10. In 9th, how about also Dan Lowther? That's another driver that we mentioned normally having problems. He's got a great race going for him. Josh Marcy, we mentioned him also with the problem he had earlier. He's in the top 10. And how about in closing, after Lowther, B.J. Tidrick in the number 72 machine, the Darlington winner a couple of weeks ago, getting that first career win. The Noble number 72 Winston machine in the top 10. That is through the field. Other drivers I think we should keep an eye on also includes one-time winner Corey Walters in 11th outside. Dan West Jr. needs something to fall his way to try to get back in the fight. And notables also to Ottenbacher and Paulison. With Rex in the early going, they're outside the top 15.
Thank you very much, Wesley. With 38 laps to go, should note that Burke, he's coming. And when you seen him get underneath West, he didn't not only see West go up the track, he pushed him up the track. Burke is trying to get as many spots as he possibly can because guess what? Him, Thurston, and Stabnow were among the drivers who are for sure good to go on fuel if it goes green.
Yeah, he's trying to move his way through the field up to 5th now, going to the inside of James Thurston for the 4th position right now. And I'm with Wesley. I'm very impressed with how James Thurston has been able to put himself in this position right now.
Trying to get himself back to the bottom side. Thurston has been pushing tight a couple times off the corners, but done a fantastic job in his Ford Mustang. Remember, ran some races with that same paint scheme this season in a Chevrolet. Burke just can't get down to the bottom side. Let's take a look towards that incident we were just referring to, by the way, because Burke was coming in quick on the bottom side of the track because Thurston nearly slapped the wall, Greg.
Yeah, man, oh man, this is really starting to heat up here, Justin. Taking a look at the LSR TV replay.
See the checkup right there, and then right at the bottom of the racetrack. They're 3 wide, just barely 2. And just pushing up the track was Burke right into the left front fender of Devin West. That shuffled West all the way back to P8.
And West is still trying to get going from there. He is still in P8. and he has fallen into the clutches now of Dan Lowther, who is in 9th. So Devin West suddenly was up there contending for the lead not too long ago, is now way back in the 8th position, 3.8 seconds back. But Caden Anderson has opened up an almost 2-second lead now over new second place driver Jeff Stabnow. So Caden Anderson pulling away. Does Seth Frazier maybe have some damage earlier, which was causing Anderson to pull away? Because we don't see drivers pull away with this aero package like this very often.
You know where you do see him pull away though, Greg? They're able to dial it in on a long run around that lap 20 mark when the tires start to really settle in. He can pull away. We've seen it a bit on the longest run of the race so far. And Anderson right now is the most comfortable, it seems, on the racetrack because everyone else is in 32 ones. He's still running 32 flats.
It's exactly 2 seconds the margin, exactly, to him and Jeff Stabnow. 2.000 last time by. Anderson looking very strong right now. He said he loves this racetrack. This was his favorite track in the trucks last year. So he felt very confident about his abilities here at this one. That lead is shrinking a little bit. Stabnow was a little bit faster that time by. 1 lap car ahead of Anderson. I believe it's the 41 of O'Hare. Remember what happened about 15 laps ago between these two.
That's still a decent ways up the road a little bit, but we've seen the replay after the contact for the battle around the top 5. Devin West, as mentioned, was shuffled to P8. Let's we have an update involving that car.
I do. You know, we mentioned that the money stop has already happened on pit road where everybody could take tires and fuel to the finish. Well, a lot of these guys are thinking that there's going to be another late race caution, pit road to at least top off on tires. Fuel, not a problem. The number 5 car of Devin West Jr. after his last little hiccup, no harm, no foul, even after bouncing off the wall, he is saving his tires. And then at about lap 115, he's going to come to the front. That's his intention. I just checked on him as, again, Anderson and Stabnow begin to play their battle of cat and mouse as they're reeling each other in off at the corner.
Thank you very much, Leslie. And that battle you're referring to sees him reeling in Thurston. Also being reeled in, Carl Burke and Chris White. They swapped positions just a lap or so ago, but White looking like he's losing ground to Carl Burke in his race car.
Carl Burke getting back around him. Burke trying to muscle his way through the field up in the 4th, setting his sights on Frazier, but Chris White not done with him just yet. Winner 2 weeks ago at Indianapolis, and he wants another shot at the lead here as he was close earlier, and he's now to the inside of Carl Burke. This is for 4th off of turn 2.
Oh, and White didn't expect him to be that far off the wall down the back straightaway. Shoved back to single file. And many drivers rely on that expectation that you're going to go all the way to the wall on the corner exit without tapping it, mind you. Burke was a lane or so off the wall, held up White, and now White, he's now got the faster car all of a sudden along with Marcy.
He got a draft from Marcy, who came up into this battle, and that was able to push Chris White back around the 53, and Burke able to shut the door on Marcy, and now he wants a shot at perhaps getting up there to the 83 of White. Marcy gonna have to try to make a move. Meanwhile, just a heads up now, Stephen O'Hare has gotten around Jeffrey Hagan. Stephen O'Hare is now in the lucky dog position.
And that's as the leader of Anderson is gaining back ground. Hagan just got lapped. Burke squeezing off Marcy for 5th spot. So looks like Anderson just about 5-10 car lengths up the road is O'Hare. So O'Hare's pace now starting to fall off. Here's the thing though too. Stabnow slowly reeling him in as well. He's reduced the gap by a couple tenths of a second the past few laps on Anderson. All as O'Hare still drops back, and caution is out. It's Tyler King.
There it is, gentlemen.
Just as expected, something happened to that 44. Wow. He just stopped on the track.
We've seen this before with a couple drivers just coming to a stop on the track.
That is a weird one. And that may be looked at after to see what happened there with Tyler King, because that just changed the complexion of this whole race.
And Justin, I just realized something. Tyler King came to a stop just as Stephen O'Hare had gotten the lucky dog. Who was Tyler King's teammate?
Stephen O'Hare?
Yeah.
There was a penalty for that type of situation too earlier in the season. That may be another one.
I believe we may have just seen that.
There may be a few angry drivers after that one.
Oh, and the one who is furious is that 37 of Caden Anderson. Because he was looking smooth. Stabnow was closing, but I just don't know if Stabnow was going to be able to get to him or not. And Anderson now pulling in.
Pit stop's underway, Leslie.
Oh, yes. Here we go. I told you it was going to happen. This is the money stops. Anderson is in pit road. So is Stabnow, Frazier, White, Burke, Marcy, West, Thurston, Lowther, Walters, and a Partridge and a Pear Tree. All coming down the pit lane. Ready to take on, you guessed it, tires. They're good on fuel. It's time for new rubber on all four sides, ready to go. All sides around, maybe a tear off on the windshields. Don't see anybody making any track bar or wedge adjustments. This race is off of pit road. Here comes Anderson. He'll get off first, Stabnow second, O'Hare third, followed by White and the driver of Marcy. Hey, quick update on the King car. He will not be penalized. He will not get a black flag. He started yelling in race control. My screen has gone bad. My screen went black, net code, whatever the problem was. No penalty on Tyler King, except he's the cause of the caution. He will go to the tail, and we will set things up for the restart. His teammate, Sean O'Hare, will get the free pass back on the lead lap.
Stephen O'Hare, indeed, yes, the lucky dog on that, but have to say, though, with that, there's been many times, absolutely, where drivers don't know where they are when the screen freezes just like that. You usually don't see them stop like that on the racetrack. That's the downside.
And that was a tough break there for all parties involved there. And Caden Anderson, 37, still leading the way. Stabnow in second. Winner earlier this year, Seth Frazier in third.
Urban lines up once again. Keep in mind, Brightsman has been continuing to run, but he's 9 laps down with significant damage. Ricky Bozier now the only person 1 lap down, and he's looking to take a wave. Oh no, Daryl Tidrick looking to take a wave at 2 laps down in this race. The DNFs, Cheney, Vining, Mann, and Smith. DNSs for Fournier and Fitzpatrick tonight on the left side scoring pylon. Track conditions haven't changed, by the way, as this race has gone on, but what are your expectations for the closing stages of this race? Because it's been one that's been fairly clean, but it's also been one where at times cautions can be cautions.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see for the rest of the race, Justin, because it's time to get up on the wheel and go for it. I don't think we've seen the last caution here. Caden Anderson going to have to fight his way off and fend off Stabnow, Frazier, and Chris White, who's red hot right now.
Hey guys, real quickly, update on Tyler King. This is what I was told by the mouth of babes on his own. His television went into dark mode because he hasn't used the television remote in a good while. So while he was doing the race, all of a sudden the screen showed 10, 9 countdown, shuts off. And that is what caused him to have the problem on the racetrack, because he was trying feverishly to get up and try to continue the race. That's what he says happened to him. Back out there, ready to go again.
Well, that's interesting. Have you heard of somebody using a TVs are used, mind you, as computer monitors.
I was going to say Denny Hamlin. We had that famous incident with.
I have a big
Taylor.
screen television in front of me, guys, as I work pit road. So, I mean, you know, in his defense, if you are using the television not for a long period of time, sometimes the TV will go into its own little Autobot mode and say, hey, are you still there? Are you watching? And it'll cut off. I don't know what to think. This is a conspiracy theory that Vegas will have to leave here and we'll all ponder.
What's the saying? Whatever happens, Vegas stays in Vegas. Hoping that happens after tonight, to say the very least. And it's a lesson learned of keep your TV remote next to you when you drive using a TV as your monitor. Expecting one to go this time, by the way.
So Caden Anderson leading the way. Stabnow in second. And you got Frazier, White, Marcy still having that good run up in the top 5.
6, Devin West. He got shuffled out, remember, before. Carl Burke, the driver who helped shuffle him, is in 7th. Thurston, he was dropping back quickly. He's now back to P8 with that caution. Lowther in 9th. And you talked about Dan West Jr. a little bit. Both of us did. Both you, Wesley, and Greg did. But Greg, West Jr.'s got no front nose.
Yeah, he is driving a modified out there in the number 55, so he had some contact trying to make his way back through the field. That's going to help him with the water temperature, no doubt, but that's about all it's going to do positive-wise for him. So we will see how that affects him moving forward. But remember, his teammate Caden Anderson leading the way right now, and his son Devin, he's now back in the mix in the 5 as he's up there trying to get back in the mix. He's back up to 6th.
Pace car rumble its way through 3 and 4. 21 laps to go this time by. Anderson has led a majority of the laps tonight. Can he close it out is the big question. He's jumped early much of the time. It's another early launch. Green flags out. Another good start for the Harvest Chevrolet.
Great start by Caden Anderson in the 37. Frazier able to get around Jeff Stabnow for 2nd. 2 of the hottest drivers in the series, multiple wins for both. But Caden Anderson coming around, trying to get his first ever win. 20 to go this time by.
Here's the downside with the caution as well. Seth Frazier was closing on that lone run. Can he close up is going to be a major question. He's trying to half lane up within the draft, poking his way to the outside for the race lead.
Frazier trying to get a run on the outside of Anderson. Meanwhile, back there for 5th, Chris White, Devin West, Jeff Stabnow battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now on the track.
Trouble.
But
back straight away. Thurston is spinning around. He's off to the inside wall. No caution as it's off the racing surface.
That's a tough break for Thurston. Such a strong run. But Chris White got 3rd in a battle for the lead side by side. Seth Frazier and Caden Anderson. Anderson led the lap, but Seth Frazier, he's trying to get up front for the first time tonight.
Frazier poking his way to the inside. Squeezed off by Anderson. Back single file amongst the front 2. About 4/10 back. Chris White trying to hold on Jeff Stabnow. Devin West trying to push Stabnow on the top side. Now ditches him to the bottom for P4.
Devin to the inside of Stabnow. Dan has worked his way up into 8th, trying to get around Carl Burke for 7th. So the 55 does still have some speed. He's side by side on the outside, trying to make his way up there. Checking back in up front. Devin trying to get around Stabnow, and this battle is closing in on Frazier and Anderson.
They gained a 10th last time by. Once again, though, Stabnow crossing back over Devin West. The Effective Web Solutions machine. Back up on the top groove. Stabnow pushes up, nearly taps him. Both cars keep it straight. West with a better run.
Devin now on the outside of Stabnow. This is for 4th. Closes the door, and he's able to clear Stabnow for the time being. So now Devin can set his sights on Chris White, who's running in the 3rd spot. White, remember, had those issues earlier. He's trying to fight his way back up. He's up to 3rd as Anderson continues to lead. I believe Anderson has locked up the most laps led, but here comes Frazier in the 32. Winner here earlier this season. He's trying to get up there.
This could get very interesting. 16 to go this time by. Frazier still trying to poke his way around. Remember though, Anderson very good in the clean air, and that's the key. He's got the clean air for a reason. He's been good from laps 1 until 25 of a run. Multiple cars though stop to the bottom of the racetrack in turn 1 and 2 and make it 3 and 4. Paulison, Gary Nichols were involved in an incident that is also off the racing surface. No caution. That was for 11th and 12th.
Staying green, closing stages here, less than 15 to go. Anderson still leading Seth Frazier, putting a lot of pressure on. Chris White, winner 2 weeks ago, looking for back-to-back. Devin West closing in as well. He's trying to get up there. Dan West Jr. has fell back another couple spots. So Anderson trying to pull away. He's the number 1 bullet for West Family Racing this evening, but Devin West is right there in the catbird seat. But here comes Frazier outside now.
Finally peeks his way to the quarter panel. Better run through the apex. Seth Frazier takes the lead in Las Vegas. 13 to go this time by.
Power move by Seth Frazier in the 32 to get the lead. He won this at this track back in March when the season started. One car pulling off on the pit road, that's Sean Brightsman. So now Caden Anderson has to go on offense for the first time in quite some time now, as he has to try to figure a way back around the 32.
By the way, that's the 3rd car this green flag run who has either had a crash or blown an engine. Gary Nichols off the track. Jeffrey Hagan blew up after crashing off the start with no caution, and out Brightsman with no motor. 4 drivers though still fighting for the race lead. 12 to go this time by. Anderson gets the caution flag now. And it's BJ Tidrick.
Oh, that's a shame for Tidrick. Hot streak was going for the 72, had another strong run going, and now he's coming in with front damage early. Or late in this one, I think.
Almost looked like a mix of 2 things going on at once. Tidrick tapped the wall. O'Hare tried to clear him. Accidentally hooked him.
Suddenly BJ Tidrick, who coming into this race was the hottest driver in the Cup Series, and now he's going to have to settle for a finish deep in the pack. But Justin, are we going to see some drivers come in on pit road? Yes, we are. Seth Frazier, everybody's coming out. Chris White stayed out.
And another
crossover.
Massive gamble. Massive gamble. He's the only car inside the top 14 to stay out, Wesley.
Pit lane is open. Wasn't expecting this with under 10 laps to go at Vegas, but again, here they come. Frazier's in. So is everyone else to their pit stall. And Anderson at P1. Burke, what a great run for him. The car looking like a modified. Dan West Jr. again still in the top 5. I don't see anybody adding any fuel. It's only more tires. A speed fest of rubber fury down the home stretch with under 10 to go. And joining us in the booth also on the LSR TV Pit Communication Center is BJ Tidrick. As you mentioned, one of the hottest drivers in the Cup Series for iRacing. BJ, what's your take of what happened just a moment ago between you and O'Hare?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to watch the video. All I know is I had him up kind of behind me, and then it just turned right. So I'm thinking he just maybe tried to push me down the back straightaway a little bit, give me a little bit of a bump draft. And you know, we've seen that a couple times tonight where it just kind of turns the car into the wall. But I mean, it is what it is. We had a good night. We had some strong points overall. I just wore the right front off the thing a couple times and put myself into a bad spot. So it's my own doing.
What is your take of this race here tonight?
You got to babysit the right front like no other. This track, it provides a lot of tire wear, but I mean, it's really, really easy to just overdo it and grind that tire down below 50% and just struggle. So that's kind of where I've been doing. I think my entry points are a little bit messed up. I've got good speed early when you can run it wide open, but when you have to babysit it a little bit, I have not shown the ability to be smart there.
All right, that's the driver again of Tidrick. He will come back with a repair and at least try to salvage some type of happiness from this bad luck he just had here at Vegas. Justin Prince, it's about to get wild. All these guys got new rubber ready to go. They're going to burn it out here at Vegas, and I think we're going to see a shootout here as well.
I think so too, and here's the interesting thing in all this. You mentioned all of them with fresh rubber. Just one didn't take it. Chris White on what is now about 16 lap old tires, 10 laps or so on the green flag run. We've seen 2 tire calls work. This is a gamble and a half to try and stay out like this. We've seen it work though a few times, Greg, tonight.
We've seen it work. He's trying to use that clean air to his advantage. But man, oh man, this is going to be a wild run to the finish here, Justin. I don't know if he can pull this off.
Hey guys, I just spoke to Chris White and I said, why didn't you take on tires? He said, Wesley, where are we at? We're in Las Vegas. Aren't you supposed to gamble in Vegas? That's what he's doing.
He's definitely gambling. Have to say that with 9 to go. And this is a gamble and a half. Want to go and expect the next time by. This is looking to potentially be a 7-lap shootout to the finish. So, also by the way, Ottenbacher took 2 tires during that caution flag, while Corey Walters just topped off on fuel in the 13th position. Gonna go around the horn. Greg, first things first, your expectations, what we're about to see in your pick for this race.
Seen a lot of great racing throughout the course of the night. It's been so unpredictable, and now we got different strategies up there, but I think that that kid in the 37 car rolling off in the 3rd position is going to be able to make a move here on this restart and get back in front of these guys and take off. I'm watching for Caden Anderson. I think his first career win is about 8 laps away.
Your expectations and pick, Wesley, after what we've seen tonight.
I'm going to go with Seth Frazier. And why? Because I want to find out what kind of interview he had with Greg Rentz at a real track last weekend.
I don't want to hear it.
You told the story a little bit, Greg. What exactly did happen there?
Oh, we're going to go here. Okay. So we did the live broadcast at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval this past Saturday on a local Wenatchee channel, NCW Life channel. And it was streamed live on Facebook, it was streamed live on their website and on live TV. Well, Seth Frazier picked up the win. It was his 2nd win of the season in the Thunder cars, the Dixie and Air Conditioning Thunder cars, and he won the race. So he was down there for interviews, and I went down there and was asking about his run, and he's like, yeah, it was good, but by the way, for all the ladies out there, my friend Greg here is single, and he's a lot better looking with the mask on as he is right now, but just so you know, he is available. And I was like, I hate you so much right now, buddy.
Oh, single?
Yes, oh
Yes.
yes.
Don't worry, you won't be soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
1 to go, by the way, as Chris White is the single car who stayed out on the caution once again. Frazier, Anderson, Devin West, the top 4. Ottenbacher, Stabno, row 3. Burke West Jr. at row 4. O'Hare and King round out the top 10. This is about to get crazy, Greg.
This is going to be wild. I know, Aunt Kathy, I know you were watching that. You were the first message I got after that saying how funny that was. And it was hilarious, don't get me wrong, but I need to formulate a plan to get old Frazier back here. And we'll see what happens here on this restart. Chris White leading the way here on this restart. He's got Frazier is outside, Kanan Anderson in 3rd. Will the gamble pay off? Will the 777s hang on the jackpot? Here we go.
Bit of a checkup on the start. Fifth bomb back, didn't get going. Several drivers bumpers. Anderson already clear in a turn 1 to the bottom side. Massive checkup. Heading to the corner, and Frazier's loose. He
Big
saves
slide
it.
out of Frazier. Big slide out of Frazier, but look at Kanan Anderson to the outside of Chris White. Where did Devin West come from? He's to the inside of Kanan Anderson.
I told you guys, watch that 5 car, remember?
Devin West looking to join the fun as well. He's looking for his first one. Stabno looking at another W to his resume.
You got Kanan Anderson looking for his first win of his career in the Northwest Racing Series. Devin West looking for his first Cup Series win. Chris White back-to-back, and Jeff Stabnow, one of the winningest drivers in series history. They're all racing for the win right now, and it's Anderson and Devin West pulling away.
Some of the OSR TV cars making contact on the outside. Chris White still defending 3 lanes at once for third. The top 2 have ran away. 5 laps to go. Frazier coming back for the charge. 3 wide for P3.
And contact! One car loose and Stabnow. Contact with Chris White. That should end it for Stabnow. Contact, he's around. And we have a caution.
And now we just went into green-white checker territory. Jeff Stabnow gets contact, bouncing off of Chris White, entering turn 1. And what a sequence.
Wow. LSR TV, cancel my flight. It's not over yet.
Where are you going? We're going to be right back here at Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have a virtual hotel room for the next 3 nights until Thursday.
We're going to go hang out at the virtual stratosphere and go ride the roller coaster.
At least you said we're not gambling, because I'm not going to become bankrupt when I get back to the East Coast again.
No.
Oh, guys. Oh, my goodness. I told you, though, West had a strong car. He was coming. And now we're going to stack the field for the restart with a shootout in overtime. And the question, do they come to pit road? Do they come to pit road and take on tires again? What do you think, Justin?
I don't know. We ran a few laps. This might be a gamble. And
some are.
Yeah, this was expected for Chris White at least.
Oh!
He's not got the freshest tires.
Awesome. Couple of cars are on the pit lane. Chris White comes to pit road. Ottenbacher. Stabnow, obviously, from the caution. He has to come to pit road, and so does Harris. But everybody in the top 10, they're going to stay on the racetrack, and I kind of figured that. Pit stop time for Chris White. Does he got a car to come back to the front with a 2-lap shootout? Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be curious. He's going to have fresher tires on green flag runs about 5 laps. I don't know if that's enough of a difference, though, Greg, to get through the field in just 2 laps.
I don't think that's enough time. I think they're going to need another green-white checkered. I believe it's, what, 2 attempts at a green-white checkered, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so I think they're going to need one more caution to really be able to make some ground here. But, man, oh, man. So strategy after that pit stop is officially out the window. Now you've made your bed. Time to go out and see what you got.
Here's the crazy thing. How in the world is Dan West Jr. in 6th without a nose?
Oh, who knows? It's
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, sums it up. It's Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and I think Dan West Jr. is going to keep whatever happened right to himself on Fremont Street. When you're in Vegas, Wesley, do you prefer the Strip or Fremont Street?
Oh, I prefer the Strip.
Fremont all the way.
Hey, guys, here's something I'm looking at, though, thanks to our stats from Dan Lisa for the iRacing League. Caden Anderson looking for his first career win for the Northwestern Cup Series. So is also Devin West. Seth Frazier, he has 3 wins already this year. Carl Burke, man, what a awesome job for the driver in the 53 car. My underdog. I'd love to see this guy come out of nowhere and win a race for sure. He right now has no wins on the series. So also Stephen O'Hare, no wins. And of course, Dan West Jr. is the points leader with 2 wins. The car looking like a modified. So you've got 4 drivers in the top 5 that have not won races ever in this series. Wow.
Here's a crazy thing. Just got this in. Remember that reset you talked about, Wesley?
Yes.
The green-white checkers is only 1 instead of the 2.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
1 green-white checker. That's it.
Full send.
Blame that on my producer. Charles Woods the one that said 2.
It normally is 2. Remember, it is normally 2. But you mentioned the issue with the qualifying.
Yes.
Might have been the same case with the green-white checker there, potentially.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Let me go find out.
This just is about to get crazy here, Greg. Now with only 2 laps and only 1 shot, really, to try and win this race, how do you approach this?
You go all out and get as many spots as you can get here. for this one. Lights still on the pace car, so what this is doing with the lights still on the pace car, Justin, this is causing these drivers to really get themselves worked up behind the wheel to try to set themselves up for a green-white checker. The only attempt, and these drivers' nerves are through the roof right now, especially those two drivers on the front row, Kane Anderson and Devin West.
Hey guys, so it's supposed to be 2 attempts at a green-white checker, just like what happened with group qualifying. They slipped up on the finish of the race, and all I was told by the Northwest Cup Series official was 2 syllables. You guess what they are. We're about to go back to green.
Oh boy, this is about to get wild.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, baby.
Well, we were expecting something wild. The intensity level just went up another 3 notches or so from this.
This is like when you're strapped into that the launch tower at the top of the stratosphere in Las Vegas, the highest thrill ride in the world. This feeling that these drivers are feeling right now is equal to that.
So let's reset how this top 10 is shaping. Anderson and Devin West are in row 1. Frazier and Burke row 2. O'Hare is in 5th after being several laps down 30 or 40 laps ago. Dan West Jr. without a front nose is in 6th. Tyler Kane, who had his screen shut off, is in 7th. Dan Lowther is in 8th. Corey Walters in 9th. James Thurston is rounding out the top 10. BJ Tidrick, after having one of his cautions, is in 11th, by the way. And the freshest tires in the field are in P12 and Chris White.
And he's got 3 miles to pass 11 cars. Oh boy.
Guys, wreckers or checkers, if they take the green, whatever happens here, the race is over.
Next flag ends the race. If they get to the white, race is official. Everything is hold nose barred. And you bet everything on the table you can survive a mile and a half. If we have a caution before the white flag is displayed and taken, race is official, ends under yellow. We're about to see what could be a wild finish to tonight's action of the Northwest Cup Series. Anderson has led the majority of the laps tonight. He's looking for his first win of the season. Devin West, he's shown speed tonight. He's looking for his first win. Both cars on the front row. We're back to racing, 3 miles to go.
Can Caden Anderson get it? Coming to the line, he's got the nose in front, he's clear. Seth Frazier coming up on the inside for second. Stephen O'Hare up in 5th. In the 41, Carl Burke 4th. He's trying to get up there and break onto the podium. O'Hare peeking low. Here comes Frazier though with a run on Anderson down the backstretch. Coming to the white flag this time by Justin.
Got the good run on the bottom side. Anderson blocks the bottom. Devin West starting to build momentum on the top line.
That's going to end it right there. Carl Burke's upside down. Caution is out. This race is over. Caden Anderson is going to get his first win.
And Carl Burke from 4th spot flipped over. Race ends under yellow. What a way to end it as he got collected with Dan West Jr. as you see on the replay.
What a heartbreak. With the crew here on pit lane, guys, for Carl Burke. And man, just to have a top 5 finish would have been awesome, but that is just heartbreaking here for what is the old saying? The celebration of victory, the agony of defeat. A tough break for Carl Burke, a monumental achievement virtually for Caden Anderson.
First career win in the Northwest Racing Series. Oh, I got really scared there for a second. I thought we were about to see a Mark Martin Bristol replicate there as he was looking like he was going to come down pit road. I was like, oh, no, no, no.
None of that tonight. But for Caden Anderson, he wins in Las Vegas. Frazier, Devin West round out the top 3. Tyler King 4th. O'Hare rounds out the top 5. And the advice tonight from West Family Racing, especially Dan West Jr., Greg, definitely paid off tonight.
Caden Anderson using that advice he gets from the West family, and it pays off in big fashion. Caden Anderson hits the jackpot at Las Vegas, and he has got a Northwest Racing Series victory. And Justin, I've been talking with Caden a lot over the last few months. He has been so dejected so many times trying to pull this off. He's finally going to get to celebrate in the Northwest Racing Series tonight. The biggest win in Caden Anderson's iRacing career.
He actually slammed the wall, starting the burnouts, but well-deserved tonight. Led 90 of 137 laps. And as the drivers congratulate him in the best way they can, let's take a look at your unofficial race results. It was a wild finish to this one, with several gambles, and one driver hit jackpot. Caden Anderson, first career Northwest Racing Series victory over Seth Frazier. Devin West rounds out the top three. They'll join us for post-race coverage in a few moments. Tyler Kane finishes off in fourth. O'Hare rounds out the top five. Dan Lowther, Corey Walters, 6th and 7th. Dan West Jr., without a front nose involved in the final caution of the race, finishes in 8th. James Thurston finished in 9th, and Chris White, he tried to gamble on old tires. It failed. He put on new tires, only gained 2 spots in the span of that lap break.
John Onbacher finishes in the 11th spot, with BJ Tidrick in 12th. 15 cars wrap up on the lead lap. Jeff Stabnow, Frank Harrison, Daryl Tidrick make up those 15. Carl Burke, first car, 2 laps down in 16th after being up in position for a shot at the win. As Stephen Paulson, 2 laps down. Joshua Marcy, 18th and 3 laps down. He's joined by Gary Nichols. Rounding out the top 20 is Jeffrey Hagan.
Rest of the drivers, DNF, Ricky Bozier 21st, Sean Breitzman 22nd, Cheney, Vining, Mann, and Smith all DNF tonight. DNSs for Fournier and Fitzpatrick. Those are the 28 drivers to enter tonight's action, as that leads us directly into the Glen Wars post-race show. Glen Wars, the official communication partner of LSR TV. It's been a victory months in the making. Anderson showed speed much of the campaign, and tonight it finally paid off with the help of West Family Racing and one talented driver behind the wheel. Caden, he's now joining us in the broadcast booth. How about that, your first career victory?
Man, that was awesome. I've had so many second place and third place finishes. It feels great to get one finally.
How much did the help from Dan West Jr. and company propel you towards the front tonight to help you lead these 90 laps?
Me and Dan, we worked pretty good there in about the middle portion when he had the lead, and we just kind of took off and tried to pull away from the field. But hats off to these guys and everybody that was out there.
It was a difficult job, mind you, to try and hold off Seth Frazier and Devin West before the caution flags. What was going through your head as those drivers were all trying to shuffle for position behind you and try and get to your inside and outside?
I had a lot of flashbacks there from Richmond as I was leading there, and Seth got me on the last restart. So when he got to the inside and passed me on that last restart, I was pretty worried there. But then we got another caution and was able to let me get back to the front.
Overall, though, this victory, a big one for you. Your first career victory in this organization and in the Cup Series. And oh, by the way, if you can get yourself into the top 16 in points, this puts you into position for the postseason. How does that now make you feel after such a big victory? You entered tonight 27 of the points for reference.
Yeah, I missed quite a bit of the first races. I joined kind of late into the series this year, but I think if we keep having finishes like this, we can definitely get to the top 16 and have a chance to win the championship at the end of the year.
Next race after a week off goes to road course racing, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. With the standing start expected, your thoughts on going road course racing again?
Road course racing is not my ideal track and forte, but I would definitely love to try and go and win there too.
Who do you want to thank for being a part of your first career victory in the Cup Series?
I want to give a huge thanks to Hermiston Raceway.
Congratulations on the victory, Caden.
Thank you.
Caden Anderson straight to the point, very happy with tonight's victory. Started from the pole, led 90 laps, and took home the victory. Second place, oh look, it's Seth Frazier. He's with Greg Rentz in the sequel to last Saturday.
Can I just say that I'm
hi,
so
Seth.
happy this is happening?
Yeah, hi Seth. How's it going, bud?
Oh, it's going.
So second place here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a track that you won here in March, and you come home with another podium here tonight.
Yep.
Seth, talk to us about that last run there on the restart with Caden Anderson and the battle, as you got the lead a little bit late there in the closing stages, but a restart on a green-white checkered. What happened there?
The last green-white checker, I would like to see the white flag come out. I don't know that I would have had enough time to do anything with Caden, but the restart before that, I tried to do a crossover and the car jumped out from underneath me and kind of screwed up the race there. But Caden had us all covered tonight. He had the dominant car, so it was good to see him get a win.
Seth, you've been very strong on the 1.5-mile oval, so it's no surprise to see you up here on the podium once again. But in the break, we have a break this week, and then 2 weeks we're going to road course in Canada. We're going to Canadian Tires, so two very, very different forms of racing coming up here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how many beers I can drink while I'm, stuck in the pits fixing damage up in Canada. Hey.
All right, well, Seth, it's been quite the night for you here, and I have a feeling I know where this is going, but who do you want to thank?
Well, I had a question for you, actually, Greg.
Of course you do.
How many dates you got after the race is Saturday night?
A whole 0.
Because, what I'm going to have to do next race, I'm going to have to just put your Facebook information and your phone number out there. And that, or maybe do a Craigslist ad. So if you start getting some texts this week, you'll know what's going on.
No, Seth, Tinder. Tinder's popular in Canada.
Well, Tinder or, farmersonly.com, I think, is a good one for rent. So we'll see where we can get it.
Hey, remember Don's Goats? Are we going there again?
I don't know what. I don't really want to know what you want to do with goats there, Greg. But.
You know what I'm talking about. But Seth, any sponsors you want to give a thanks to?
Just Paul Bear for coming out and sponsoring us tonight. Always appreciate Paul jumping on the car.
Oh yes.
That's pretty much it tonight.
Second place, Seth Frazier. We'll catch you in a couple weeks north of the border.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that got interesting. Let's see if Wesley Owen can top that with Devin West.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Oh wow. Devin West joins us in the booth. Devin, you will settle for third. Now, you did tell me that your car was going to be strong at the late rally and come to the front. You were just there at the end of things. What's your take on the finish here tonight at Vegas?
Yeah, like I said, like I told you early in that race, I was trying to save. About 30 laps to go, I slid back a little ways, trying to save my tires, and just come back up. We had a caution. Fortunately, I got back up to second on that green-white checkered. Felt like I had a good piece there for that final lap. Wish we could have seen how it played out.
Is there anything you would have done differently than what happened tonight for the finish?
Yeah, I wish I could have got to the front a lot earlier. Unfortunately, I didn't qualify amazing, and just a few knick-knack mistakes here and there through the race kind of kept it from getting to the front as soon as I wanted to. So that'd be one thing I'd change. But otherwise, there's always things to go back and change. But finished third in that race, especially, I can't complain.
What is your thoughts of Caden Anderson winning here tonight? Especially, he said you really, really helped him a lot, as well as your father, Dan.
I don't know if I helped him. If anything, I was trying to, see what he's doing. But no, I'm proud of him. It's his first win, so it was good for him to see that. He earned it. He led the entire race, I think, just about. I wish I could have got him there, but he deserved it. So good job to him.
All right, well, there's the driver, the number 5 entry for Team LSR TV. And again, the driver of Devin West, he will prepare for the trucks as well as everyone else right here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway virtually for the Northwestern iRacing Truck Series. Coverage will begin at 11:45 Eastern, 10:45 Central, right here on LSR TV. We'll be back on Thursday night. And my final thoughts of the race here tonight, Justin and Greg, I felt like for a second I was at Daytona or Talladega. The tandem drafting, the packs, the big wrecks, all the chaos we saw. And again, it came down to a shootout finish. A deserving win for Caden Anderson. Great teamwork sport between West, helping Anderson along the way to victory. And now we pack it up after 1 week off during this summer break and prepare to go to Canada, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And a hiccup tonight with group qualifying makes me wonder, will we have a standing start 2 Mondays from now when we drop the green flag at that next race? Guys, back up to you to close things out.
Thank you very much, Wesley, and couldn't have said it better myself with some of the final thoughts there. Your final thoughts, Greg, on what was a crazy end to this race. Let's put it that way.
Oh, it was a crazy end for sure, Justin. Caden Anderson getting his first win, but I feel like I need to clarify a little something that happened during that interview. So, and I'm sure everyone's been able to figure out, me and Seth Frazier are really, really close friends, and we love pranking each other, and Seth is a prankster. And a couple years ago, we have this other friend named Donovan, and Seth put Donovan's phone number on Craigslist with saying that he had a bunch of baby goats for sale. Don had no goats at all. He had no idea why his phone was blowing up constantly with people asking about the goats. And Seth must have drugged it on for like 2 years before he finally told Donovan what it was. So that's the Don's Goat story. In fact, I believe Seth actually ran a Don's Goats Ford Mustang in a race not too long ago in the Northwest Racing Series. So that's the story there. But coming back to the final thoughts here tonight, Caden Anderson, long overdue, first career win. And it was so much fun to watch him go out there and pull it off, and pulled off some of the best in the Northwest Racing Series for it.
Some crazy stuff tonight. Some moments where you definitely want to say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Some stuff, some drivers hoping becomes that factor after this one. But as mentioned by Wesley, the Truck Series gets to come here for summertime action. This upcoming Thursday, catch that on LSR TV for what should be an interesting one. 134 laps on the docket there. The next time the Cup Series hits the circuit is the Turning Right A100 at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Current projected distance 40 laps, just under 100 miles on the docket. That's set for July 27th. Broadcast will start at around 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. On LSR TV, your home for sim racing. But with that, it's time to say goodbye. For our producer, Charles Wooden, for Wesley Outwin, for Greg Rentz, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. We'll see you in Canada. This has been a production of LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.